Right. Get ready, everyone. Tell a friend what I do. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's get it ready. I should really start now. Share screen. Tell your friends we're going live. All right, let's cut it there. Look at that, quick cut. All right, excellent. Welcome everyone to the Black Band Broadcast. I'm your host, Brother Raven, also known as Rap Raven, and this is the 256th episode. That's right, it's 256 attempts at working with the community to find solutions. Isn't that fantastic? So don't forget to tell a friend we're live. This show is for the community, and your input is always equally as important. And there's always space for everyone to jump on and give their contributions. Right. So let's start as we always start, shall we? And that's we're gonna look at the document, and we're gonna first big up Black Betterment Build on Instagram. Don't forget to follow that. Very poor attempt at promoting this. So I'll pull it in the link. It's very poor, but it's there. There you go. Oh, fantastic. All right. So let's start. So what we talk about? So we're going to go through the PDF as we always start, and let's start with the reactive expectation. Sorry, there you go. Get my glasses on. Retroactive expectations. Okay, ancestral obligations and community commitments. So we're literally look at this. So we're saying that because of how Black people we have had quite a terrible history in regards to outsiders and tragedies. That maybe there's something that we should all just have innately in us. That is to remember the atrocities inflicted upon the ancestors and the community in the past, and present and behave in a way that reflects this. Reconnect with Black people locally, globally, and form networks and teach each other about the different cultures. Repair the Black community from historical trauma that caused self-hate challenges and health issues, and rebuild the Black family, Black economics, and Black nations. So the easiest way we can do that is by having a solution, and that single solution that can help us is Black Betterment. So, and that is a lifestyle of Black people continuously helping Black people, and that's what this broadcast promotes. By the way, if you don't know, it's a lifestyle of Black people continuously helping Black people. And then you go, well, there's another word as well. Lifestyle. What's the other word? I forgot the word. It flew from my head. Discipline. That's me. It's a discipline. I'll use that more now. It's a discipline. Black Betterment is a discipline. Right. So, we focus on the triple triumphs, which is Black families, Black economics, and Black health. And speaking of that, we've had a few weeks back brothers and sisters who are doing certain kind of activities that they need promoting or we wanted to promote. And I think last week we had Your Liberty. This is the links, and I'm going to put more of the links in the video last week as well. I'll pull it up here. But these are the links there. Let me post this in the group. I don't know if you can just click on it. This is the sister who was there last week. So she has community kind of meetings where brothers and sisters go in to talk and chat and bond. Some are about just community stuff. Some are about finding a partner. Some are about connecting with other people of the same sex, all that good stuff. So follow that sister's there. And then also a week before that we had Brother Matchfit, and his website is there. Let me post that there again. And he was trying to set out a kind of community program to help the youth with direct kind of training and to get in like speakers to come on board and teach one philosophies in his particular gym and around that. So don't forget that. So we'll put that there for you to go and see, and we'll be promoting more brothers and sisters. We want to get maybe a next one that maybe a Black economics kind of focus person or group, but we can promote what you're doing. So let us know if you want it to be you, and we'll make it so. If you've got a business or something there that you want to promote, we can try our very best to help out. All right. So we'll throw the link out there so people can jump in and help. And if you do want to come and talk on the show, don't forget to have discipline, dignity, discernment, and dedication. That's the 4D values. Don't forget. Say it every episode. Don't forget. Try to use derogatory language if you can, please. All right. So here's the two fantastic topics: boycotting between Black groups. And we discussed what is motivating African Americans boycotting African business, and that's topic 1. And topic 2, how to treat community leaders who are in error. We discussed how the community should treat community leaders who are publicly in crisis. I was originally going to do Brother Umar because the brother's going through some challenges, but I'm sure he's going to bounce back. And I hope that there's nothing dodgy going on. But we might even cover, because I remember 2 weeks back, or maybe 3 or 4, I was covering that brother who I went on the show. Is it Yusuf? Forgive me for getting the name wrong if it is. But he was a very dynamic, good speaker. He goes, he went, what's the word? Viral a few times for the stuff he was saying. But obviously, through further inspection, the brother does have some strong views, which seems to be easily triggered by certain events and stuff. And we were reviewing. I was on the show for 3 hours. Well, it's really 2 hours, but we reviewed 1 hour. But then I had to go, and I said we'll do part 2. That's when he really kind of got really emotional. So we might actually do that next, as in review the next hour. That might be because we said we're going to do, and that is kind of connected to how should we treat community. That he's a community leader. That's a strong word, but he's a person who's got eyes on him, and he's talking pro-black stuff. So yeah, we might do that. Who knows? We'll see. All right, cool. So let's now start with the boycotting between black groups. Is there anything else I should do before that? Well, let me play one video of this African brother, and he was that's actually that might be connected. That kind of could be connected to this. So I don't know. I saw some brother. This is slightly connected to the first topic. Well, there was a white supremacists were using this brother's videos to try to justify black people being whatever, not good at stuff in their opinion or whatever. Where is it? Is it this one? It was 00. It's one of these. Not that.
What can you do?
Yeah, this one. I saw this on the internet. It's sort of quite interesting.
Was created by us to describe something we're confused about.
So you're saying
what this brother was saying, he's saying that white supremacy is an ideology that was promoted by Europeans that has been documented as far as we can see. It was created by black people who were shocked to see some of the wonders that Europeans had, allegedly. So this brother was saying
black folks created that name white supremacy.
That's correct. From Africa. From Africa. Because we are just amazed by the things they've done. Well, we describe them always by inventions. When you take a toy and the toy is talking and it's moving, we're like, oh my God. Because yes, my people are not sophisticated. No.
Why would we call a white person a white supremacist if, well, I think it's because we were enslaved.
No, not. It is just observing the mere industrialization of their environment, which we haven't done. That's all. They can command water from far away through tubes into their bedrooms. We can even fetch a bucket of water from the next lake, you will be drowned. They can put electricity. We never had one in Africa. They have airplanes fly over us. It's amazing. Everything they've done is the reason my people say these people are superior.
Yeah, so he's jumping. What he's doing is jumping timelines, and he might be talking about particular ethnic groups in a particular village or outer land space, right? Maybe, I don't know, right? But like I said, there's many technological things that's happened in Europe before anything was happening in the Ice Age in Europe. Africa was like that place where Europe came to study. There's Great Zimbabwe, there's the Mansa Musa and his empire, there's you name it, man. The Songhai Empire, there's Mali Empire, there's there's Kemet, there's you name it, right? We could keep going forever, right? So I don't know, but I don't know what motivated him to say this. Carry on listening.
Not because of slavery. They came to colonize us and they brought things we have never seen before. They gave a king a mirror and he was dancing and sold his people away. They brought guns we have never seen, boom, and killed somebody right away. You know what they used to do in the Congo? Right. They put dynamite in the rocks and then they hide the switch. And then when they point their fingers, go boom. And the Congolese till today, they call the white man kiboom, the sound of the dynamite. And then they go down and they go like this. If they're not superior, why do you see every picture when the white men arrive in Africa, we bow into them?
I don't see that picture.
The Portuguese in my own town,
is he Angolan?
Ordered these people. As soon as the Portuguese showed up, everybody was bowing. We have never seen a gun kill a human being. We have never seen a mirror. We have never seen a radio tune in.
this is what white supremacists. I came across that some page we were posting like this is why when black people talk about black history or black achievements or the lack thereof, whatever it might be, that's what you've got to really be careful how you say, because things can really try to be used against you. I don't know what this gentleman is trying to do. I don't know, but I came across on the white supremacist forum.
And somebody speaking from England, the Queen's voice. So for us, all these things, these people must be really superior and close to God. They used to have a joke in Ghana that when God said, let's pray, the white man opened his eyes. The black people were covering his eyes. So the white man saw how God created the world. That's why they are so good at what they do. And I'm telling you, these are folklores from which we grew up. If anyone told you that white people came to Africa to tell us they're superior, it's a lie. They never said that.
Well, it's not like that. That's the doctrines are there. White supremacy, it's there. It's an ideology that they practice very well. So yeah, who is it? Is this? Oh, is that the video? Sorry. Yeah. So I don't know what that brother's doing, but once again, be careful the video that you make. I don't know who that brother is. Maybe he's some guy, controversial guy, and that's what he does. Maybe he genuinely believes that. But yeah, if he debates any kind of Pan-African scholar or historical scholar, they're gonna kind of correct him in so many ways. Well, but I don't know if that might be even connected to like mindsets of how some Africans or some diasporans might feel before they go to other places, and that kind of needs to be ironed out. That kind of behavioral pattern. All right, let's now start the. Oh no, there's I did see one other thing. It was just an observation. But I'll do it in another video maybe. It was quite interesting. There's an Irish black woman who said something. But no, is it? No, I'll do it next time. Probably. No, yeah, I'll play a bit of it. It was interesting because I saw this. Is this really big? We're talking about the whole identity and people with one black parent and stuff like that. And there's a sister who was I think her page, she goes on around the world DJ, maybe, I don't know, right? And I think some guy just tried to hang out with her and she wasn't best pleased. Some guy in whatever country it was.
Why?
Because I'm uncomfortable.
Can you take a look at me? Next you.
I'm actually recording here, so if you could.
Big up, brother. Just watch your podcast with the white woman. It's crazy how offended she was at black people practicing black around it. Yeah. There's a lot of that. I might be doing another show this Sunday. I don't know. It depends. They've asked me, but I don't know what they're doing. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, that's a very controversial woman. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. But anyway, it's back to this. Big up the brothers in the house as well. So it's carrying. So look at this woman. She's identifies as biracial, but she's in another country DJing, and she's not comfortable because there's a European man there doing something.
I don't really want anyone else in the video.
You look at me.
I just don't. I don't know you. I don't feel comfortable as strangers taking pictures or videos of me.
Excuse me. Did you hear what she said? She's already asked. Can you please leave?
I feel really uncomfortable.
We're just looking out for the ghetto.
Thank you. I'm trying to work. Can you please leave me alone?
A to je nemoguće na javnom kupalištu. Našla je mjesto gdje to nije moguće.
I'm just trying to work, like in peace. This is my work. I'm a DJ. I'm a YouTuber. I just need to record a set.
Are there another language?
Can you leave?
Why?
Because I'm uncomfortable. I'm a black woman in a foreign country, and you're a white man. Can you please leave me alone?
So that was so. There's a woman, and she says she's a black woman in a foreign country alone, and she understands how the world views things, right?
I'm not racist.
I don't care. Like, can you please just leave me alone? I'm trying to work in peace.
But you.
I'm not that interesting. I want to promise you that. Please just leave me alone.
Black, you said white. I'm not racist.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really not racist.
Can you leave?
No.
Why?
Because it is my decision.
Right. So that's just, so I went to the page. I mean, it was just a case study because this was one of her other videos, right? And it's just like, so she was under threat in a foreign country, and she said, she knew to say, look, I'm a black woman, you're a white person, this is, I'm foreign place, this kind of stuff, right? And then I saw this, just about identity, right? And this is me just doing where is that thing? 001. Please somehow download both.
Can you repeat?
There it is. This is her just doing the whole organized street thing.
Of course, my teachers told me my protective hair.
So this is where people go, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that.
I'm Black and Irish. Of course, my teachers told me my protective hairstyles were inappropriate for school. I'm Black and Irish. Of course, I don't go outside on the 12th of July. I said that bit too loud. I'm Black and Irish.
So yeah, so she's Black and Irish. But what I'm saying is this the case though. Just like when you're foreign and when you're in getting harmed or whatever it is, you don't say I'm Irish, I'm Black and Irish. Look, I'm Black. And that's just a case study. And that's something that I like to use that case study when we have these other discussions where identity and how people perceive you and affiliation, where it's like, yeah, you're not being oppressed because you're perceived as Irish and they don't perceive you, right? It's because you're connected to blackness. And that's what I thought was quite fascinating. But yeah, anyway, that's the case study time. Let's now move to the topic, which is, the first one is boycott between black groups that we discussed. Let me actually get the thing so you can read it. Boycott between black groups. We discussed what is motivating African Americans boycotting African business. So let me just give a backstory. So we've covered it bits and bobs here, but there's been some ongoing slight tension in America here and there. And basically, what it was, it's there was a time, and still is that time, but where it was universal blackness. Everyone who's black is black, and and there was Africans and Caribbeans going to live in America, and then they are seen as Black Americans or African Americans or just black people all together collectively. But as time's gone by, there's been some kind of like behavioral pattern shifting, allegedly. It's always been recorded that some people from Africa and the Caribbean have disassociated with African Americans and then try to have not necessarily associated because of whatever reasons, and or getting into like public places and then doing things to undermine the progress of African Americans, not represent them correctly or something like this, right? So a whole lot of stuff going on, and we were covering it, and there has been some tensions, and right now I feel like what's been happening now is apparently there's been some kind of boycotting of African Americans want to boycott African businesses. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. We have to case study this, and this is I'm just so I haven't really seen it. Got a few videos, and let me see what's been said, and we can give some kind of analysis of from a black Batman standpoint. So let's play some of these videos of what's going on. Or not, it might not be as big as it is, but the fact that they're trying to do something is something that we should really be aware of and see what's going on here.
Black Americans. As this African business boycott is approaching, we can't just talk about it. We actually have to be about it, okay? So I have a list of companies and people we need to protest, because we do need to protest them at the local level, but we also have to protest them at the highest level possible, okay? So I'm going to start off with these companies here. We have Bread and Beauty Supply. The owner is from the Ivory Coast, okay? We have 54 Thrones. The owner is of Nigerian descent. We have Diva by Sydney. They are of Ghanaian descent. We have Red Lobster. The CEO is of Nigerian descent. We have The Shade Room. The owner is of Nigerian descent. And last, we have Essence. The owner is of Liberian descent. Okay, I also have a list of people we need to be boycotting, all right? Shabuzi, Nigerian. Toby, Nigerian. Rotimi, Nigerian. Wale, Nigerian. Tyler, the Creator, Nigerian. Chameleonaire, Nigerian. Tyler, South African. All right. So this is a list of companies and people we need to be boycotting. However, if you have any other people that are from Africa, have that African descent, they are not Black American, put them down in the comments. Let's keep this list going, and we need to boycott these people and let them know that Black Americans are no longer taking any disrespect. We don't want to fight anybody. We just want respect. That's all we've been asking for. And understand that we have our own culture and our own identity. That is it. So until then, we boycott. Hello?
Okay, so that's what this brother's saying. This would be a very interesting topic to have to be obviously, I don't agree with the methodology, but I'm still in the listening stage. So I haven't heard most of this other stuff, but I did download. So there's people giving the backs and forths about it. So that's A. And let's see what this is. Ethiopian. Let's see what she says. No. I can't listen to a whole. I don't think I haven't blackified it, so that might be a bit dangerous. Let me find one where it's doesn't have music. African, like, what's this one? Nope. Nope. No, these are long ones. Let me get. Yeah, let me just go through the list.
Intelligent when y'all don't even know who the true indigenous Americans are. Y'all think we came from y'all when y'all are nowhere as talented as us, nowhere as athletic as us, damn sure ain't as good looking as us. And out of all the continents in the world, if you guys are so amazing, so creative, so smart, so knowledgeable, why is it that y'all can't build your own continent up? Why is it that y'all can't sustain yourself without the aid of every other continent? Africa receives the most foreign aid of any continent. This is primarily due to a combination of factors including poverty, conflict, humanitarian crisis.
African Americans, or the foundational Black Americans, this new breed of Black people in America causing trouble on the internet, the foundational Blacks who have decided that you are now going to bring your frustration on Africans. Africans minding their own business, hustling, and trying to make ends meet. You guys have fought everybody now. You have brought your frustrations to the Africans. I mean, I'm weak. I've been listening to these foundational Black people on the internet, on TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. They are bumping their gums, talking about how they are going to boycott African stores, African businesses, African stuff. And most of these people have never been to Africa. They've never been to Africa. But all of a sudden, they just want to start attacking Africans. I mean, don't you have anything better to do?
Okay, so that's one video. Not much, but I mean, I'm just listening at the moment, see what people are saying. All right, nope. So this one says quickly.
Video is going to be controversial, and some people are not going to like what I'm about to say. But I'm going to say it anyway, I don't care. Black Americans are right.
So there's a word that says tether. So they've created this kind of slang or offensive term or descriptive offensive term, kind of like how you would say Uncle Tom or these kind of styles talking where tethers. And basically what it means is if if a foreign Black person, or maybe any foreign person, but more so say Black person, lives in America, and you know they tether their way in and they kind of abuse the community, but they're living off, say, the African Americans, but they're not I'm spelling quite wrong. I'm actually I've got a brain freeze at the moment, but it's how to explain. When you're living off there, you're I guess you're identifying as Black or a Black American or whatever it might be, but you're actually doing more harm, and you're almost like cosplaying and this kind of stuff, but you're not doing anything productive or constructive. That's not the worst explanation, but I'm sure I'll get it later.
To be mad. They are. You see, us immigrants, not all of us, but a lot of us, seem to forget, or maybe they just don't know. But if you have been living in this country long enough, you should know that. The reason why we're here, the reason why we are allowed to be here, is because of the work Black Americans did. Because of the sacrifices they did. Because all the fights they had to fight in order for them, because they didn't do it for us, they did it for themselves, and it's right. But today we are enjoying the fruit of their labor. And we should not forget that. I'm an immigrant. And yes, in my community, or in an immigrant community, and nobody can say otherwise, is a lot of disrespect for African Americans. It's a lot of it. I have heard it. And I have to admit that when I first came,
She's saying that she's from a foreign place, but the community she's around and what she sees is very disrespectful to the African American community.
I was also ignorant of their history. But after being in this country for the amount of time I have been here, if I act like I don't know that, it means that I'm willingly demeaning them. They are mad. And you know what immigrants should do right now? We should not be arguing with them. We should be quiet and listen. Listen to what they're saying. Listen. No, but no. It is not about us. It's about how they feel. It's about the experience. And guys, they are right. Many immigrant community call them lazy. They're not lazy. They even say they don't have a culture, and that's an insult. Of course they have a culture. Of course they do. In the music, in the food, in the way they live their life, in the way they dress, they have a culture. And by the way, a culture that is a leader in many ways. Our children in Africa dress like black children. Children in Asia dress like black children. Children in Latin America, in Europe. So please stop saying, and it's not only limited to clothing. It's in music, it's in history, it's in literature, it's in science. The immigrant community need to stop demeaning and disrespecting black American. They are mad, and they have all the rights to be mad. Now, if my immigrant community or my African community want to come after me for what I say, that is on you. I don't care. Because the truth is the truth.
It would be good to actually have I forgot time set, but a discussion about that. This would be good to what is going on in America or the world, because I'm sure it's connected to like diaspora or different ethnic groups, how we view each other, and if we are actually undermining progress in each other's communities and stuff, or prejudiced views or negative views. That would be a very good comment. Maybe we should try to hook that up. What do you think? You think that would be a good idea? I mean, it would be good to get brown sisters in the States of African and Caribbean descent and the others of African American descent. And let's see what's really going on. Let's carry this in and we'll jump to another one.
And we need to admit where we're coming short. You're going to come to people's house and you want to look down at them? You want to disrespect them? Yes, not all Africans. Yes, not all Latino. Yes, not all blah, blah, blah. All Asian, blah, blah, blah. But enough to make a lot of noise. But enough for them to be mad, rightfully so. We need to be quiet now and listen to what they have to tell us. No doubting the experience, no undermining the experience, no forgetting the accomplishments.
Joining in, we're talking about the topic of where's my PDF? 4 seconds, family. A boycotting between black groups. We discussed what is motivating African Americans boycotting African businesses. So there's a boycott going on. In certain areas, it might not be very big, but the fact is they are promoting it. So I don't know how widespread it is. So we're covering the motivation behind it, and we're just going through some of the videos now to keep us up to scratch. Let's see what this brother is saying. Let's see what he's saying.
I hate on Africans, I'ma say it, bro. Since everybody want to throw hate on them, I'm about to show them some love, bro, by telling the truth. Watch this. West Africans, bro, especially like Nigerians, bro, when they come over here, they do very well, bro. They come over this joint, they do very well, bro. They make sure their children stay off the streets. They put their children in college, bro, and they mind their business, bro. Them people are not bothering anybody, bro. They come over this joint, bro. You see them become doctors, engineers, IT professionals, bro. CEOs, bro. The CEO of Red Lobster right now, bro. He's a Nigerian man, bro. So y'all coming on this joint, y'all dissing them, bro. It's like them people ain't bothering us. Y'all need to leave them alone and learn something from them, bro. You know what I'm saying? And if we're gonna boycott anything, let's boycott drill music. You know what I'm saying? I'm not beefing with nobody that's black, bro. I'm not on what y'all on.
Okay, that's what he said. I think he's African American, bro. I'm assuming. Okay, that's cool. Let's see what else. What else you got? Good 4 seconds, family.
We know you African American.
Say the sister. See what she's saying.
African Americans should be ashamed of yourselves, and I'm here to tell you why. Hi, my name is Empress Mawina, and I am originally from Ghana, but I moved over here when I was a kid. Y'all want to claim that America belongs to y'all, but yet, ever since I went to the States, the money, I never seen a picture of a black man on it. But when you travel to Africa, or even Jamaica, or any black populated country, all the money have a black man on it. So how is America really a country again? Make it make sense. Y'all want to claim that y'all built America, but the real truth is, actually, the white people stole all the African stuff, brought it over to this country, and our ancestors who are black, like me and you, build America. You guys are jealous. Let me give you one reason why I think you guys are jealous of us. Y'all was saying that a Chinese has a market, Africans have a market, Indians have their own market, but when it comes to the African Americans, y'all do not have a market. Yeah, I think you're jealous. That's one. Wait.
So one thing I was idea that what you're going, I'm just gonna. I haven't heard some of these videos, but I assume where it's gonna go. One of the things you want to do is everyone's always going to say you're this, you're that, this is that, and the third. I think what I'm going to try to understand is what is motivating this, and then what is the end goal, and what is the solution. Because usually what will happen is it's like a domino effect, and what I suspect is going to happen in some of these videos. Someone goes, "You're this, you're that, you're this," and someone's no, "You're this, you're that, you're this," and then they come back on it, and before you know it, they're saying things that's hard to reverse, and then the argument isn't the original argument. It was, well, you called me this and you called me that. Name calling things. Let's carry on listening.
I think your real beef is honestly with white tea people and not us Africans, because on 1942 in Detroit, I remember you guys try to build a black community, but then the white tea people shut it down. I think your real beef is with white tea people. FBA, you make being black so embarrassing, and I'll tell you why. A white man listening in to most of the stuff that comes out of your mouth, because at the end of the day, we are all black people, okay? Whether you like it or not. And the white people know that. So if the white people listen to some of the stuff that comes out of your mouth, no wonder why they think black people are stupid. Stop embarrassing us and stop making us look like idiots. Y'all want to claim India an indigenous word.
So when we wait these kind of videos, do they really think that they're going to say it and at the end people go, yeah, that's what should happen, we should do that? Or do they think that it might be another domino effect, right? And that's why the question we have to always say is, what is causing this and what is the goal? And I see all the time when there's a debate, different ethnic groups arguing, and we got your country's this, your country's that, your group is this, your group is that. And that way of communicating, you cannot shame or diss someone into making them go, yeah, you're right. It just becomes a back and forth. But the only problem is it ends up including other kind of people groups. Big up Musa, welcome to the live speak.
What's good? Can you hear me?
I can. Black Batman to you, brother. Black Batman.
Black Batman. Can you just recap, if I understand you correctly, you're talking about errors or these nuances between diasporan blacks and continental Africans?
Yeah. So at the moment there's like a small boycott that's being planned, I believe, and it's between African Americans boycotting African businesses. But generally, this discussion about in the States, it's people, Black Americans, who are having issues with non-Black Americans, Black people who are not of African American descent. So
is that not also the same between African Caribbean and African in Britain?
Yeah, so that same dynamic that's happened here, right? And once again, it is different in the sense of because obviously African Americans have been in America for a long time, while Caribbeans have been here the longest in mass. And I think when a lot of the issues were happening with like the whole 70s and 60s and riots and stuff, it was predominantly Afro-Caribbean. So there's a different kind of like history here in mass, but there's also still obviously many Africans involved. But yeah, it's a similar argument happened here. But in the States now, they seem to think, or they seem to say it's more so non-Black people from non-African American blacks and all the other blacks. There seems to be some kind of cultural difference, disrespect, or lack of empathy, all this kind of stuff. It is very low vibration.
Hold on one second. Rat Raven. Remember, the history that we're coming from as a race of people is a history where there's been a lot of betrayal. So is it justifiable why certain groups hold a certain position about within the race? because of that betrayal that has not been confronted or rectified, or does that make sense?
Yeah.
They're holding on to bad because look. I mean, how many ways does this play itself out? When African Americans repatriated through the ACS, African Colonial Society, when African Americans repatriated to Liberia, and they helped colonize that state to make it one of the first free republics on the African soil. The American Liberians, the African Americans, did not get along with the native Africans. There was a clash, hierarchy, where the African American descendants were on the top and the Africans were at the bottom. There was a challenge. It was very culturally challenging for the African American to get along with the local Africans in Liberia. And the same dynamic played itself out in Sierra Leone between diasporan returnees from the plantation and the local Africans. But because of this betrayal, and we can also go even further in it, because there's Maroons that don't get along with the non-Maroon blacks. So there's been a history of putting one group against the other, or betrayal and dishonor. And if that betrayal and dishonor has not been rectified, it's not been confronted, and people still uphold their treachery or their betrayal on another group of people, do you not think that people are justified into having these type of anger, this vex about certain things because of history? I mean, what would you do?
Well, let me just type a message in. So for me, tribalism and nationalism and all this kind of stuff has always played an issue. And in isolation, people become accustomed to their kind of way, their norms, and their trust. And also, when you go to certain places, certain marketing schemes might flavor a person's perception of another group, whatever. But I think without an actual code of conduct or a lifestyle or a kind of overall goal, this will always be the natural thing, right? So if we go home back in on the African American scenario, African Americans have played a long history of trying to get justice and reparations and speak to the universal the international committee about the atrocities that go on. And I think through close proximity of being governed by Europeans and white people, they have they have a connection to America through being there when it was built and being a part of the process of building a lot of it, right? But at the same time, they're also very close to the people who oppressed them and refuse to give reparation and continue to oppress them on a collective standpoint. While people from Africa or the Caribbean, they're no longer directly connected to their oppressor. It happens through proxy wars or through proxy leaderships or through international corporations going in on behalf of them. But generally, on a peer-to-peer, you don't see that many issues, right? Directly. So, African Caribbean. Go ahead.
They're connected. They're connected psychologically. They're connected. When those people who were in Ghana during the era of Kwame Nkrumah, they played a major role in undermining him and getting him ousted. These were local Ghanaians, but had loyalty, psychological loyalty to the colonial regime. And when Kwame Nkrumah tried to go against that reality to build an African Ghana with an African mentality, there was elements within Ghanaian society colonial elements within Ghanaian society that betrayed him. So I mean, how can we say that, well, those same dynamics don't play, even if, okay, look, Africans in Africa are not as mixed, so they're carrying an African genome that would would be carrying that kind of pure bloodedness you would expect. We would have certain kind of expectations of them, but the mentality is where the problem lies, isn't it? If you are, you're loyal.
I don't know about that. What I do know is there's different issues that happen through proximity, right? So Africans' issues, they have a history of tribalism issues that comes today, right? And so in isolation of a direct enemy, as in like a colonizer or whatever it is, these age-old tribalism issues form. But when you're in when you're in England or you're in Canada or you're in America, it's a different dynamic because you are not the governing class, and you can clearly identify black and non-black. So you're probably like African Americans had time to actually unify under that black banner, and they don't need to look for different tribalist marks within African Americans. There's no need because they're treated as one group, right? So when like I said,
is that not fair? Is that not fair of them to do that?
No, no. It's me personally. I'm saying that there should be no. When you're trying to get things done, tribalism is not an idea. So, but what I'm saying, I can understand why tribalism will become an issue in Africa more so than in, say, America, because technically African Americans will be identified as one tribe. What you're seeing today could be a form of tribalism, as in the one tribe of African Americans, and then the unique African tribes that's coming in, the Yoruba, the Nigerian.
Right, Raven.
Go ahead.
Raven. Didn't Africa betray African Americans by selling them as slaves?
Yeah. So, what I'm saying.
So if I was African American, hold on. If I was African American, and I chose only to identify with African America, not with Africa, can you not see I'm justified within my right, according to history, to do that?
Yeah, let me explain. So, how a person identifies.
No, but I'm asking the question though. You're not answering the question. If I was African American, coming from the history that I'm coming from, and I chose to be loyal to African America and not to Africa because of that history of betrayal, which you just confirmed, would I not be within my right to do that? Supposing I was an African American descendant.
Well, the answer is yes, but where I'm going with this conversation is that hasn't been the motivation of African Americans, right? The African Americans have been like the primest group to champion a concept of unifying people in the diaspora for a collective betterment, right? So this way of thinking, African Americans are free from. Where it might be coming nowadays is because, or so it's been reported, that there is a heightened feeling of people outside African Americans who are coming into African American society and doing behavioral patterns that is undermining black progress in that nation. Yeah, and maybe so.
I agree with you, but to say that it's a new it's not a new phenomenon. Two, it's historically always been there. There was people that was jealous. There was African Americans that was jealous of Marcus Garvey because he was of Caribbean descent and he wasn't an African American. And there was people that was holding grudges against him because of that. These nuances, whether it be African American versus African Caribbean, or African Caribbean versus African, or African versus African American, these nuances have always been there. But where there's been that type of betrayal and people developed regional loyalty, can you not see that when people do exhibit those you could call it psychosis, you could call it I don't know, man, a legacy of PTSD, legacy of Stockholm syndrome.
1 second, brother.
Can you not see? But
I hear that. 1 second. You can carry on a bit. There's a brother, like I said, brother. There's a brother, Pan, who wants to come in. He's saying he's African, even though he's of African American descent, and he would like to speak on it. But we have said that, unfortunately, because the brother seems to come with a certain behavior, that if we ever to let him in, we have to ask if people want to hear him, because especially we have guests. So if you guys want a brother Pan who's African, or if there's any other African Americans want to jump in, you can. But let me know if I should let Pan in. Just before Pan is someone who's promoting a new ideology where he wants people to identify as a different kind of term, and that's where it goes. He doesn't really connect it to anything Black Bearman. But But let me know if you want to speak. But carry on, brother. We're just going out there. So, brother, if they want you to come in, you can come in. But we'll wait for them. Let me check what comments.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I'm just saying that we haven't, because of we haven't healed our disagreement. We haven't healed from our betrayal, and we haven't brought a truce to our disagreement. Like, what would you do if you was on either one of these sides? Because if I came from the Maroons, I'm gonna have a Maroon perspective. If I came from the African Americans, I'm gonna have African American perspective.
Well, let me.
I
hear that. Let me say this.
If I was from Africa, I would have an African perspective. Talk to me.
Yeah, but the area of interest I like to focus on is like easy wins, right? So, for example, it's like if I'm foreign in your land and I come to your land, if I'm doing activities that is undermining things that you've been trying to do for decades, what motivates this, right? So, for example, I could go, if I was to go live in America, right? I don't need to get reparations. I don't need to. Yeah, I'm not connected to that land like that. But I would want people of African descent or African Americans to get it, right? And I'd be more than happy to work towards something where I don't get anything from. The opposite is happening. What's been reported, as in there's people in the diaspora who, regardless of not getting anything, they're actually sabotaging African Americans from getting it. Yeah. Now, obviously, there's plenty of Pan-African, African, and Caribbean brothers who don't get the limelight to say whatever they're going to say. But the area of interest is those who are not that way, right? So that's what I want to have a conversation about that, like, and then once we get those brothers and sisters in the room.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I understand that you want to have. I understand your objective and what you're trying to do in it, and it's a noble objective to seek out. What I'm trying to say to you, like, you're ignoring the 500 years of nuances, subtle nuances, and unfinished. You could call it unfinished business, or areas that we have not been able to straighten out. But then you're trying to say that we just need to go for the reparations. And I'm like, hey, look, let me try to give it more of a structure. You're Raven, and you're the leader. You're the leader of a tribe. Let's see, you're the leader of a Hausa tribe, and you're now trying to approach this. You've come with a program called Black Betterment. But I come from another group of people, and I'm like, I like your concept. It's really cool, but I don't know if I can work with it. And then your natural response to me would be, why? Why do you think you couldn't work with Black Betterment? Correct? It'll be a natural response for you to ask that question, isn't it? But I say, I don't know if I want to work with that. And then you'd say to me, well, why? I say, yeah, because I worked with a Hausa person before and it didn't work well. And you know what? I worked with another Hausa person and it didn't work well either. And you're Hausa, so nah. Raven, I'm not into it. What are you going to tell me?
Is that a question, bro? Is that a hypothetical question?
Yes. Okay. Yes, a hypothetical, yeah. I want to know, what would your response be to that?
Well, that response would be the same as yours. So that's what you described as something that goes on daily, right? You meet ethnic group people who just say, well, I don't want to work with this ethnic group, or I don't identify as Black, or I'm not African, or I'm African.
Oh, yeah, but I'm giving you a specific scenario now. Right. I put you in it, and I said, you're the leader. And I'm saying to you, I don't want to work. I like what you're saying, but I have my qualms of working with you, or working because on the strength of you come from that ethnicity, and that history of that ethnicity has not been positive, i.e., betrayal, backstabbing, war, whatever. And boy, I just can't. Nah, that I can't. I can't work with that. I'm not going to work with that. So how are you gonna put my mind to ease? How are you gonna convince me to be like, no? If I'm giving you a list of that's gone wrong and betrayal, what would you say to me?
So what I would say is, the first thing is, when we talk about like grand Black collectives, right? You understand that many Black people have a war or a tribal issue that's going on in their particular land that might still be going, right? So what you would do is you'll say that there's an ultimate goal to try to have a solution for that and have like talks if possible. But in the meantime, you don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. All right, like blackness is so big, you don't have to go and live in Hauserland or wherever it is. Right, there's enough blackness in the world for you to actually stay in the West or the East or whatever, and do black betterment in a certain area for a certain collective group at a certain side, right? But the issue that you're going through is on the agenda of we have to, just like this. This is now an issue, right? A small one of African Americans and Africans in America not getting on. So we go, okay, we know what's going on. Let's try to set up a space where we can try to unpack it, see what's going on, and have codes and solutions for it, right? Same thing. But obviously, some of these things you're talking about are big historical wars and alleged genocide of whatever might have not happened, whatever, right? That might be affecting certain people groups, or some political stuff going on in their country that's only one class is leading, the others is getting nothing. This is a big issue, but the idea is, as a collective, we hear it, we listen, and we try to have a solution stop. Right, but that doesn't stop all the other work from going on. Or that doesn't mean that because I don't like this one group, that means everything else has to stop. It doesn't really work that way. Before you speak, brother, we're joined by Chris Kush. Welcome, sister Black Betterment. Welcome to the panel.
Black Betterment family.
Black Betterment. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, Raven, you still didn't answer my question, though. I said, if you was the king, you was the leader of that tribe, and you were still pushing a program, and I knew that because of historical things that didn't go well, that I didn't trust you on the strength of that, how would you then convince me to buy into the idea of a black betterment based on unresolved issues between the clan you are from and the clan I am from? What would stop me from just saying, what you're doing, I cannot get with, because those wounds of history and betrayal and dishonor are still prevalent, and you haven't convinced me to see you in a new light. I'm holding to my narrative, and I'm not changing my mind, and I don't trust you. What would you then say to me to convince me otherwise? Or is there what would be the solution?
Because we talked long enough, I forget. So what I'm saying is, are you saying that I am a Hauser person, as in if I was a Hauser person? Am I wrong? Because I'm just trying to.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And the unresolved issue could be one of many things. It could be you didn't keep to your agreement. Back in the day, you invaded my territory and you sold my people as slaves.
Right.
You undermining my people in a transaction. You changed your religion from a local religion to a foreign one, and boy, I don't respect you for it.
What you're saying is amazing, but because I have to give you my response, right? And my response is
what would you do?
So at a certain point, I would say that whatever the issue is, I sit down to unpack each issue and try to have a solution, as in like, okay, because there's certain things that's happened, right? And it's like, okay, what can we do to amend this? And it's a discussion, and you have to listen to the person who feels oppressed, right? That's what you do. So someone has an agreement and they go, here's what it is. 20 years ago or 100 years ago, your great granddad did this, whatever, right? And go, okay, now we agree that happened. Here's what we're going to do to find a solution. Maybe when we split up this land, we give you this much because it was taken away. I don't know, because only talking. But what I'm saying is I'm willing. Just like this conversation now is a willing to talk. That's what it is. However, if someone is always going to drag their feet and it's like, because something happened 40 years ago or 200 years ago, I'm never going to do whatever, then I wish them well. And I'll say that, we're going to do this and your birthright is to be a part of it. But if you don't wish to, that's fine, because we understand you're going through something, isn't it? Yeah. But we're going to continue. And at any time, if you see anything constructive that you wish to join, you're always welcome.
Yeah. But you see, by letting certain, one, you would have to be willing to confront those harsh realities. Two, you'd have to be willing to meet requirements on both sides. If I don't get a certain territory that you took from me back in the day, if I don't get that back, I can't work with you. If you don't rectify slavery, certain things that you might have done to my people, I can't work with you. If you're not willing to confront certain religious betrayal, I can't work with you. Who's to say you won't do it again?
So well, what I'm saying is a conversation.
You see where I'm going?
I know where you're going, and this is the answer to the question, which is a good question.
Who's to say? Because if I say if you've got the history of doing it before, who's to say you won't do it again?
Well, the thing is, brother, what we try to do, we try to set up scenarios where there's a forward momentum, right? So we can always have a failure fabrication about who's to say this, and that is the truth, right? But this is why open door elitism is important, because sometimes you're dealing with people where it's no longer about our tactics, it's about trauma. So someone's just letting you know their trauma. Now, if you're saying, look, this happened in the past, let's have a discussion to find solutions. If they're not forthcoming, then you have to allow them space to become forthcoming in the future time. But what we can't do is like stop every time we meet ethnic groups or certain tribes or certain nations that have challenges because of a black group within a bigger collective. Like what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is not for the betterment of Afro-Caribbeans or Hausa or Yoruba or Zulu. It's a concept that allows all black people who identify as black to have a forward progressional idea, movement, and collectivism progress in a world that is very anti-black. You see, that doesn't mean I'm gonna. Go ahead.
I hear exactly what you're saying, and I just want to know, can you, what did someone say to me once? If the soil that you're building on is fertile and you plant a seed in it, something's gonna grow. But if the soil has become to an extent corrupted, no matter how good the blueprint you bring, because of that corruption that already exists, there's always going to be a problem. You're trying to put a seed in corrupted soil that can't run. It's like I always knew that the United States will have problems, and it will always have problems. There's no one man that can solve that problem. Do you know why? Because of its history. The atmosphere won't let America be what it is and what it wants to be. It just won't accept.
What you're doing is very important, right? And it's beautiful. It is beautiful, but it's like at a certain point you are presenting failure fabrication, right? Where it's like you're speaking in a way where you've identified challenges of the past, and your conclusion is, well, because it's there, there's never going to be, or there can't be any kind of forward plan. But I'm saying
no. There could be a forward plan on the basis that the peoples are willing to confront their wrongdoings, their issues, their misgivings. They can move forward when they've allowed them.
Can I come in on this?
You can, sister. Let me just say this one thing, that sister can jump because I just don't want to forget this, right? Just so you know, brother, what we're saying here, we're recognizing that there is some new boycotting coming on, and the question that I'm saying is, this is coming from somewhere. Let's unpack that to find the solution there. So hopefully that connects what you're saying. But the sister didn't want to speak, let her jump. Go ahead, sis.
I just want to say, by the way, I think this is a really good conversation that you're both having, especially the layers that you're delving into. I think so. In regards to the boycotting thing, bro, both of the brothers I'm talking to on this, I've said this before. I like even this whole boycotting thing that's supposed to have happened. It's already supposed to have happened. Okay. I think it was supposed to have happened on the 1st of August out of all days, and I've only recently come to hear about it, and I heard about it after the fact because people were just saying that it wasn't much of a boycott. If you ask normal people outside the internet, black people didn't even know that there was a boycott that was meant to be happening. So I just do think it's again where you're funneling your feed on this, and I do think that, as a lot of people have been saying now, that it's just adjacent to very agent kind of behavior at a time like this. Things like this to me is very agent type of behavior. I said it in the chat. I just don't think that we should be giving it weight. I just feel like this is another fad, another passport bros or another red pill. It's just another divisive tool. But what I would say is I agree that there's a fundamental problem in regards to quote unquote tribalism within us. And I do think that coming from Black British, we should recognize it as that and then not pouring weight into making it bigger than what it is and seeing it into that. And I think what Musa is talking about is very interesting. I think that the core point, or if we don't go to the core issue, things like this will continuously happen. I think that when Musa said that everything's perception, so the perception to the Maroon, for example, knowing the Maroon history and the subsequent other Black enslaved Jamaicans there, depending on what side you stand on there, you have a different point of view on things. And we can say that with a load of things. But I do want to say, though, Brother Musa, is what you're discussing, and I'm definitely a sister, as you sort of know, I don't like measuring us against other races. But I will acknowledge that there is similarities of all of us. We all have traits. And one of the trait is that there has been sellouts in the Europeans going on centuries. They've sold out their own. But you don't hear any Europeans talking about, I'm not going to work with Europeans. I'm not going to progress with Europeans. I'm not going to work with France. We know that they can't stand each other. The world is, actually, if you look on the world stage right now, it's very evident that they have no real liking towards each other. But they are forced to work together right now. Imagine one of them saying, well, you know, in France, we had the mutiny and, you know, we killed off all the wealthy ones. And now I can't work with another French person who's related to someone. They wouldn't do that. It doesn't make any sense. And what is jarring, what I've noticed with our people, is that we'll use that same rhetoric with us. Does that mean that there hasn't been atrocities or things that have done within each other that we might harbor feelings for? Yes. But to act like because of those things we cannot progress is like, we can't be thinking like that anymore. And we can't be using that as an angle, as an excuse to keep on division when we're watching other people who, even though they don't like each other, right now they've got to work together. Like, we're literally seeing them grinding their teeth working together. They're having failed meetings after failed meetings, cussing each other off on the world stage. World leaders, these elite people. We're literally seeing it. And then we have the cheek to talk about, well, we've got tribal beef. We've got one person don't like this group, so that group, so it'll never work. Why should I ever trust them?
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say it's not that there isn't a it's not that there isn't a solution. It's just that look for those who can navigate that chapter in order to bring forth a certain level of cohesiveness. It's never. There's always going to be problems, and it's never fixed.
There's
it's
power.
Yeah,
we have to be careful how we talk about it, though, bro. Right?
Yeah, but we spent years in sweeping our problems under the rug, under the carpet. We gotta say it the way we gotta say it, because we haven't addressed it. We can't be sweeping nothing under the carpet. There's fact. There's so many people that's gonna bring their version of facts from coming from the region.
Like you said, we have to sit down and we have to all do that, but we have to do that with a sense of, there has to be a balance in how we discuss it, number one. And there has to be some sort of maturity in how we're discussing it, because we give a blight to every other race. Like, if we really want to go like that, then the first people we should be acting like that is the white people. If it's that we cannot.
Hold on. What you're saying is a very amazing point, and I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm going to let you continue, but the way you said it, that's where I wanted this conversation to go, as in analyzing the inward kind of Black destruction, where when other groups do certain things, it kind of can be slightly ignored, but when certain things allegedly go within the Black collective, there is this extra emphasis to delineate and to attack and whatever it might be, and that's something that's important. and what you brought up there. So there's 10 points for those. Carry on. Just have to give you a props on that analysis there. Go ahead.
Much love for that, bro.
Because we have racial real racial exploitation coming from a group that seeks the annihilation of another group. If we can overcome, because look, the only reason why white folks where they are because of what they did because they put their foot out and they tripped everybody else up. They don't allow themselves to get to the top. But with Europe, white people as a race getting to the top, they brought their baggage with them, and it's now that that baggage that hasn't been resolved amongst some white people are start to show their cracks. Whether it be Russia, Ukraine, whether it be America and Eastern Europeans, they start to show their cracks now. To say that everything is not all one. You've got to remember that it was Britain and France. They fought 7 times over the island of Saint Lucia. You see what I'm trying to say to you? So,
bro, there's a long trace of mutiny, betrayal, all sorts, the worst kind in their kind of history.
But this is why it's catching up with them.
But we're not catching up with it. Did you say we're catching up with them, bro?
No. Their white people's baggage is catching up with them.
Exactly.
As a civilization, the white race has reached the end of its cycle. That's why their civilization is going. Yes, it's going. They're in decline.
But let me just respond to what you're saying in regards to the slavery thing as well, because that's a constant one that keeps coming up, right? And sometimes I really do think that we've been fed a line, because since I feel like the rhetoric of slavery has definitely changed up to this moment where it's just like, yeah, you know, one day it just literally has the image of one day Africans saw boats coming, and then a white man come and said, yeah, money, give me your auntie and uncles, people that you've generationally known, grown up with. Like, really think about that. Like your mum, your auntie, the neighbor that's seen you since you, the one that's probably babysitted your dad, the elderly people, that, and they're just African people, yeah. Especially if, like us here, we still align that we have traces to them, right? So they're similar. We are them, right? They are us, and we just hand it over. Like, I'm not saying that what I'm saying is that there was definitely sellouts within our nation, like there has been now, like there is today, right? That's never going to change. But that's not just a black thing. That happens everywhere.
Yeah, that's right.
But I feel like the whole African soul, you would have thought the whole country, the whole continent just said, oh, the white man's here, take my wife, take my daughter, take that auntie, take like it just happened that way. Like to say that we don't know what happened in the Congo, like we don't have a history of resistance that they will never tell you about unless we look into it, and it trails on, right? Like we don't have the history of Haiti, but all of a sudden in this era, we just no resistance. We just sold them for what? We had gold, right? But this is the rhetoric, right? And I'm not saying that there wasn't sellouts within that, but I'm saying these kind of rhetorics that is getting chucked out now is so ignorant and worrying. It just baffles me. Do you understand? Like, there is real problems that are going on. If we look at like the Tutsis and the Hutus, that's to me a real example of two ethnic diverse family having genuine grievance with each other, right? If you look into the history there, and who was the puppet master behind that? So to me, it's about, hold on, let me finish, bro. Yeah, to me, what I'm trying to get to is, do we say to people that we don't have a grievance to be worried, to be angry at where we are now? Because Caribbeans can actually have that same kind of feeling as well, right? Because what I feel like a lot of Black Americans forget that the boat had many different stops, right? So what I'm trying to say is, right, what we should be doing is, yes, acknowledge what happened, but understand the context behind it. Understand that someone came from another land. Understand that there was actual slavery happening on land as well, because I feel like that gets forgotten about. Like Congo didn't happen. Like there wasn't thousands of maimed people. Like like Kenya didn't happen, and the Mau Mau uprisings didn't happen on the continent. Like, we need to stop. So what I'm saying is, yes, there was things that happened, but to say Black people just rolled over, like our ancestors that me and you might have drops of their blood on, who fought for, yeah, to act like they never did die, because who's going to talk about those stories? Nobody. So all I'm saying on this, yeah, I don't want to get into a rhetoric of this, but what I'm saying is, what we should do on this is look back on this and be like, okay, that was our history. What was the problems here? Sellouts, as per usual. Sellouts. That is the key to this. So if someone said to me, okay, you know, if I would to allow someone to let me believe that, okay, a whole nation just said, okay, yeah, there's a whole nation out there that just doesn't like me, right? Even though we have the year of return, even though we're having celebs after celebs that are showing that they're going over and getting their new nationality, and we're seeing that these countries are wanting to work together with the diaspora. They are bringing initiatives to draw the diaspora in most of these countries. All you need to do is to prove that you are Black, literally, and you can get a passport. That doesn't sound like a country that is against you. It sounds like a country that is trying to do some form of repairing. Do you know what I mean? So, and all I'm saying is the only thing I'd say to look out for is the sellouts. If that country is moving with leaders with sellout, we know what that leads to. We don't support it. We're not going to go to it, not going to work with it. We're not going to attract it. If we see something that's going on like the Sahel, which is where leaders are clearly showing that they are battling against the forces that be, I would suggest that we go towards countries like that. That's how it works. But to have this blanket brush of they sold us, that's terrible. Like no other nation has done bad things to their own nations. Like like another nation hasn't done worse to us, who bring this drama on our doorstep. To dismiss all of that.
Can I ask you something? The reason why that was able to happen, because there was already certain distrust in Africa that foreigners in the 60s. Hold on. No, it's not always going to happen. It will happen at a particular time. It could happen at that time. It could not happen at no other time, because that was the time where they took the advantage. At that time,
who's to say that, bro?
No, but we can only go with it. We can only go with the history that is there, isn't it? And the history that's there.
Well, whose history? His history. Because me and you are talking from a different history. Because the history that you was actually repeating was just Black people just rolled over and just sold off all their people.
No. I gave a scenario of what happened, or what could have happened if you belonged to that clan and you had a trade or treaty with another clan. And if you broke that treaty, why should I trust you again? And it's the same question that Europeans asking each other. It's the same question that Russia is asking Western Europeans. Why should I accept anything you've got to say?
My brother, in a big continent like Africa, with loads of different countries, with different religions, with different ways and little nuances that might be different, my bro. Yeah, I can't.
You say different religions.
Yes.
You say different religions. Different religions coming from where?
We have to talk in the now. We have to talk in the now. We have to.
No. But we're talking in the now.
We're not right. So we're answering your question, right? What I'm saying.
Where do they come from?
But my bro,
Talking now. Where did it come?
But you know, I agree with you with that, right? But at the same time, the reality
You're not answering my
is,
question. Where did it come from? I'm talking about now. Where did it come from?
where did what come from?
If they brought in ideas, yeah. If they brought in ideas and they're in Africa now, innit? So where did they come from? If I have a treaty with I'm from a clan, you're from a clan, and we got a treaty with each other, and then your clan goes off and does something else with a foreign group of people, why should I listen to anything you've got to say?
Yeah, maybe in the first 5, 10, 25 years, yeah. But now we're talking about now. For someone to
Now
talk,
I'm talking about no, sister. I'm talking about now. Why, if it's happening now, not later. I'm not talking about 50 years ago. I'm talking about now, present
All right,
tense
so you're
now.
saying that. So you want us to
You
go
are
back
hold,
to the moment in time?
no, I'm not trying to go back to no. I'm trying to talk about now. If now you have held on to ideas that came from foreign, and it was one of the reasons why the treaty between me and you was broken, because you went off with other people back in the day, and you're still holding to that now. Why would I listen to you now?
So, brother,
knowing that
wait, hold on, brother. Let me jump in because I'm letting you cook on that. What I'm trying to do now is connect the dots.
I want to answer the reason.
Well,
I want to answer reason. I don't want someone to give me circular reason. I want to answer straight for the question. Why am I not getting an answer?
Brother, I don't think it's that straightforward because, for example, this conversation is about boycotting in Africa and in America, African businesses, right? And what motivates it. And you've gone back to 400 years ago and this kind of stuff, right? And I hear that. But actually there's things happening now that might actually give us a clearer picture of why it's happening now. And then as we go through that list, we might end up there. But there's things happening now that's been alleged or not alleged, right? So that might be a good starting place. Hence why when I said the conversation, to have African Americans and Africans and Caribbeans, we have to go, what is happening in this country where people don't seem to be able to correlate in certain basic ideas? What are those basic ideas? And it's like a simple conversation, right? So
yeah, but bro, I don't think that this is the majority of Black Americans in America.
It's not.
I just think that this is just because the thing is, bro, you'll have the same people that are saying all of this, but then we'll be hailing up Ibrahim Traore, and then you'll have the same people cussing at Langley, talking about Langley's embarrassing and don't talk for the Black Americans. The same Langley, the same Langley that was the general who's talking about how they should eliminate Traore. So and then we've got Black Americans. Bro, we can't. I don't think we should.
Okay. Watch this. You made a brilliant point, innit? Langley, let's deal with it. I don't need to go all the way back 400 years. We can deal with now. You got Langley on one side.
And is he not a sellout, bro?
You got. Hold on. You got Ibrahim Traore on the other side. Wait. Where is Langley raised?
I'm assuming the US.
Where is Ibrahim Traore raised?
Burkina Faso.
If he's looking at from the Burkina Faso lens, and Langley is looking through another American lens, do you not see the reason why he's going to have the programming that he's got?
Do you see the problem with that question, though, bro? Come on.
She's already broken that down.
Yeah, but the programming's still there, and the program is not going to go anywhere until it's confronted. That's what I'm trying to say. You can't just look at it.
Hold on, brother. You're right. And now we're gonna go to part two. And part two is this, yeah. This whole broadcast is about ideology. It's very important that we understand ideology because, like I said, everyone says not all skin folk is kinfolk, whatever. But I just say it's all about the ideology, right? Does this person have an ideology that puts B1 first, that puts Black issues first, right? If they don't, then they can't be trusted in any kind of Black betterment spaces. The gentleman you're describing is the defense minister, or whatever it is, for an American thing. I have no idea who he's married to. I have no idea who was raised by, but his allegiance isn't to anything pro-Black or African at all. His allegiance is to whatever system is a part of, which I suspect is a white supremacist system, right? So his faith is so the easiest thing you can do The easiest thing the white person can do is get a black person to do something for white people. It's easy.
Exactly.
Like, matter of fact, I could do it.
And then they will have a brother saying, well, if there's a bunch of Langleys, I can't work with them.
That's what. Hold on. That's why.
And this is what I'm saying, Musa. You can't. You have to see them as individual sellouts, and not that that is the whole nation.
But also,
the cure to that is seeing that and then learning the lessons of this is a trait of a sellout. If someone like that comes to me, we don't deal with them.
Thank you. Yeah, but also
it's not just shunning the whole nation. They are them.
It's what that and once again, there is a method to the madness, right? The meetings that these alleged meetings that we're going to try to have as a concept, right? The reason why I would want to have them is because in those meetings or those discussions, you can describe ideology. So, for example, I'm here and I'm Afro-Caribbean based in the UK. And then there's an American who's based in America, right? And we go, look, I'm not in your country, but let's ask a question. Do I support African Americans getting reparations? I do. Do I think I should get any? I don't. Am I happy to see African Americans progress? I do. When it becomes to white supremacists and African Americans, who will I root for? African Americans. So so it's like, oh, okay, so this guy, his ideology synchronizes him with our betterment, even though he's not here. So if he was here, that's how he would live, right? So that's why understanding someone's ideology or lack thereof will allow us to find out who is synchronized and who's not. But if a person is unsynchronized and they've been raised in the world, the majority of black people are anti-black because that's how the world will raise you. The easiest thing it is to do is to be anti-black, right? So that's why I'm trying to have this discussion to highlight that. Well, hold on a minute. 4 people in the room. Do you guys all agree that this is good for Africa? This is good for Americans? This is good for black people? Okay, why not? What ideology are you tapping into to actually find solutions? And that's what the method of the madness is, family. That's what I was trying to get to, bro.
I like what you're saying now. You said you say it's ideology, and it's the ideologues that we tap into, because really it's the ideologues that shape the person, isn't it? Why they are the way they are.
Thank you, brother. And that's why in the show, and I said the sister will back this up. When people come on here, I've got 2 questions, right? I ask them, and this allows me to know where we're going. And that is, what's your views on black love or black family, and what's your views on black economics? When they give me the answer, I know, okay, I can't work with this guy. Oh, okay, this guy can probably come to me. Yeah, because if a guy is against black families and black love and black economics, then he or she is just going to have a heart attack in every meeting. Right? So that's what I'm saying. That it's the mind, then the body. The mind, then the body. It's not the body, and then we run with the body because we don't know who's affected the mind. Now, when you talk about 400 years ago, those guys who sold out, they are not a part of any black. But the only thing they could do is repent and try to do good, right? It's like if you're part of a group or you've engaged in any behavior that has undermined black progress, yeah, it's your job to try to fix it. It's your job to try to fix it. So, for example, right, I'm Afro-Caribbean. Right? That's my ethnic, right? I'm overhearing that maybe some Afro-Caribbeans are not supporting African Americans in some of this stuff. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in the phone and go, what's going on here? How does that work? If that is true, what part of the game is that? Let us correct that, right? It's a simple thing, really. Like when you hear something that isn't correct, if you're part of a group or you're part of a scene, you jump in, you go, let me fix it. But the best way to fix it is to have a discussion about what is it that we disagree on. So when they say, listen, the reason we're boycotting isn't because we hate black people, it's because we feel, and they might be right or wrong, that there's a lot of people from this country that's making this particular thing harder. Then I can say, okay, that's either true or not true, or maybe it's not true, but at the same token, let's have a discussion to see where it's coming from, right? It's a bigger discussion.
100%.
Thinking most black men are like, yeah. I don't think
100%.
Go ahead, bro.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. The fact that if you've got the right values, ideas in common, then you know that you can work with the person. If you don't have the right ideals, the right values, you can't work with the person. But it's really because it comes down to the mind, it comes down to the ideology. It's just that I'm pushing certain things to see, like, you understand why some programming is going to continue, because it's there. and
You're
some
right.
programming is going to clash with some programming is going to clash with other programming. It's fine, but you might have to just always be on guard to say, okay, this programming is something that we need to be mindful.
And I think the sister wants to speak, but that's why you have codes of conduct and rules, isn't it? So before we even this show, this broadcast is the perfect example, isn't it? We have rules, and there's certain brothers and sisters who might want to come on, but because they've violated certain kind of rules, they might not be able to until they understand what they've done, right? And most people who come on this show, when they go on other shows, they conduct themselves in a different way because that's the comfortability of those other shows. But when they come here, we have certain rules for a certain reason. So the reason the reason we don't F and blind, not because it doesn't sound cool, but because these topics are so strong that at any minute we could just go off the lid and start insulting each other, then each other's ethnic group, then each other's nations, and before you know it, civil wars just from 4 seconds of talking. So that's the rule sets in here. So whenever we're doing things as a collective for the collective betterment, we have to have rule sets. That's what we say. Who benefits from this, and how do Black people progress in this concept, and who is to lead, and so forth. You have that discussed, and you move forward.
I think it's just so important to remember, that even as much as I love us, we're not all perfect.
Yeah.
And we are going to constantly have, especially with us, because we have, as the brother said, and we've said all the time, the propaganda in us is deep. The programming in all of us is deep. No one has been, no one's avoided it. Even, we're seeing people now, right, who claim that they're one way, and then their actions just scream something different, right? And that doesn't have to be that's the judgment. Sometimes it can be, right, but sometimes it's a mistake or a hiccup, right? It's just a trip up because of the programming, and we have to account for that. That's why I say that's why I always say when we talk about us, it's different. That's why I don't like comparing us to anyone else, because it's really different with us. And I think that growing and maturing in this, in your belief, in your spirituality, or however you believe your pro-Blackness is to you, is understanding that logic within us and having to be prepared for it instead of reacting to it. There's going to be a high probability that this person's going to probably mess up.
Yes.
It literally, if we're going to be believing in man, and when I say man or woman, right, there is going to be a high probability that they're going to be human and they're going to mess up. That's why we shouldn't be relying on man. We should do anything when it comes to big things with us anyway. It all has to be in writing. We're talking about laws, we're talking about treaties, all of that kind of stuff. It's not about an individual. It's about a way of life, right? It's like what with the Sahel. Anything that they do now is not with one individual. They all have to agree. You can't just go to Mali. You have to understand that if you want to talk to Mali because Mali might have something that you want, it's all true that you've got to sit down and talk to. Because everyone needs to have an accountability. And it's not about an individual, it's about the philosophy. So all the ideologies, all the treaties, all the laws that you'll make will be based on your ideology and not an individual. If we have to come to the point where we have to meet on an individual base, we know the traits now to look out for a sellout. And it's okay to say that head's a sellout. That's what we need to get used to doing. Because I think the silence of not doing it will now give off the illusion that the whole nation is like that. And thank God now for internet and things like that. So when you see a country doing something, you know that doesn't represent the people. Like, for example, what happened in the beginning of the Sahel, ECOWAS. So like when I did that presentation, right? So you had majority Nigeria, a couple of other Western African countries, but majority Nigeria was doing big cooning, big sellout. Sorry, bro, big sellout, right? And the actual people on the ground didn't agree with it. They didn't agree with cutting off their electricity or their energy supplies and starving the people. When it came to America wanting African countries to go, and out of all the African countries, only Kenya that said that, we'll take the $3 million or the 300 mil to go over to Haiti and start fighting Haiti. It was the people on the ground, the Kenyan people saying, are you mad? You can't even sort us out, and what are you doing taking our officers over there to fight our brothers and sisters? We can't go on illusions of these puppet leaders that these are how these people are. Because if we did that, we'd think everyone was like Trump in America. We're thinking that everyone like Keir Starmer here. So with us, because it always roots with them, because they've got their little seedy fingers with everything to do with us, down to our leaders, down to everything, our stuff is just different. We have to look at it different, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's just good analysis, sister, right, as usual. So yeah,
it makes a lot.
Talking out on sellouts and sellout behavior, I do think, and that probably ties into your next topic, but I think more than ever, people need to speak up if they're against something that this person who so-called represent us is doing, and they're doing it wrong. It's so important, so that when we are discussing us as a diaspora and looking at other countries, we understand that this is just a fringe. Even the brothers, I think some of these brothers are in America that are commenting, and they're saying that these people Langley don't define me. These people talking about how they're not about the other diaspora don't define me. The hundreds and thousands of comments that were talking about how Langley is embarrassing the Black Americans over there with Traore, we're saying that they don't define me. We have to be conscious of that when we're talking about things. That's why I said, we're talking about this boycott. It's not, I don't think it's any boycott. It's a fringe, again, as per usual, disgruntled heads that have thought that this is the way to go about it. Screams agent to me.
I hear what you're saying. What you're saying is very true. I think we just need to embrace where we are, where our pace is not going to be like other people's pace, because our history is not like other people's history. But as civilizations, they rise and they fall. Some people's is coming to an end, and some other people's is coming into the beginning. So we learn from our mistakes in the past, not to repeat them, and we have a stronger ideology. It will see us through harsh times. If you don't have an ideology that promotes strength and empowerment, and
brother, you might have been cut for a bit. Don't know if everyone's connected there. But
can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear now, family? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you don't have an ideology that promotes strength, empowerment, and territorial protection, then you will face the same repeat history, because one is not learning. Every group of people is going to go through what they're going to have to go through. But if you can learn from your error and mistakes to become a better generation, then you will move forward. But if one doesn't learn from that, if one holds on to neo-colonial ideas, which is what the characters like Langley is a product of, neo-colonialism and colonial invention, and we can put so much other peoples in that bracket because they're the product or the invention of colonialism, then we're wrestling against this reoccurring mental psychosis. And it's not just as a race. You have China, and you've got colonial Chinese people that are in Hong Kong that want to do the colonial thing, the neo-colonial thing, and it's just like China has checked that. They've put a stop to that, or didn't allow that to become the dominant mentality in their nation or in that region. It's not because it can't happen to them. It's just that they've got a better way, and the dominant force in that land stops treacherous behavior from becoming powerful or blossoming. Does that make sense?
Yeah, bro. And we give thanks to both the brother and sister. Now, so the sister Kush mentioned about segueing to the second topic, which we will cover slightly or a bit less, and that is how to treat community leaders who are in error. And I think that kind of that because two things were said. One was obviously highlighting when someone is error prone or they're just completely out of the fold or they're working for the opposition and the terms to use for them. And another thing is people who are generally synchronized with what you're about. They're just either inexperienced, ego driven, or many other challenges, right? And how to treat them. I think, unfortunately, being inexperienced and having trauma overloads every 7 seconds, you're going to find many well-to-do brother or well-intended brothers and sisters who want to do things, but they're so affected by trauma and stuff that it's going to spill out and they're going to do it in an error-prone way. So I think what I might do is I was originally going to show you well, originally we're going to cover Brother Umar Johnson, right? And because we covered last week where the brother's going through some hard times. His accounts have been frozen, and people suspect he hasn't been arranging his time and money the best he could, allegedly and stuff. So, and we have to wait to find out what goes on. But right now, the school is seemed to be in a problematic place because of the issues, as well as more importantly, or less importantly, but from a visual standpoint or optic standpoint, more importantly, is how those brothers are reacting publicly when things go wrong. And that's why PR training is important, or just generally character building concepts where, a back and forth about name calling and stuff is something that when you get to a certain level of community work, we want to definitely try to work past that. And so speaking of, I was going to review, we're going to play 1 hour, we won't have time now, of me talking to a brother who spoke really well about certain things, but there's other things he seems to be a victim of, and I'll show you something now. This is the brother we're going to cover, and I think I got 1 or 2 of his videos. Now, forgive me if there's swearing going on, forgive me, it's late at night. But this is a brother who speaks really well on certain things, but then he also ends up saying things like this.
I will never see unity with Black South Africans. I legitimately hate Black South Africans. I will never in my life come up and say we need to unify, even Black South Africans. Never.
Right, so and he went. I think that's why I've got the clip, right? But the brother goes on to really go off on this concept, and he has his maybe because I think of some of the treatments that was going on between South Africans and Nigerians, and I think he's Nigerian background. So I did a full a 3-hour talk with this brother, and after the first hour, he had this kind of same kind of commitment or dedication towards his views on Black women, but that I never got to show that because we only had an hour. But I don't think I got time to do that. But it was a similar thing. But outside of this behavior here, this brother has says a lot of good things. But once again, it's and I suspect I think he does identify as pro-Black and a Pan-African. So he wants unity, but obviously there's certain things where he's deeply affected and he reacts in certain kind of ways like that, right? And so it's multifaceted, isn't it? It's you want to work with people who have the same ideology as you, but then you also work with people who they don't have sort of like trauma tantrums or problematic behavioral patterns within the ideology you're practicing. And that's why you have to find your I mean, it's a bad word, but your tribe when it comes to a working thing, right? In a work standpoint, right?
Question.
Go ahead, brother.
Shouldn't in a system that is, if you're able to develop a system that's robust, there has to be a way of you dealing with your differences, people to people, like of the same race. It could be different tribe, it could be different ethnic group, but the same race. There has to be a way of dealing with your differences without it spilling over to all out betrayal.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And because I don't, if let's say all of us are on a continent, right? And we come from different parts of Africa, but we're all Black African, yeah. There should be a way of us dealing with our differences on that same continent without without it spilling over to Asians getting involved, Europeans getting involved. Does that make sense?
You're describing code. That's a code of conduct. That's what it is.
There should be a way. When that is no longer effective, you said the question you was asking, how should we deal with people who are in error prone and intentionally error prone? Do you not think you'd have to wipe them out?
Well,
this is what I'm saying, especially if you're saying that they're a leader. So I'm interested to hear what you're thinking.
Yeah,
let me answer. If someone, I can answer. If someone is actually working for the opposition, as in they're not like, oh, I accidentally gave the plans to my enemy. Like, it's not like that. It's like, this is part of the strategy. Like, I'm here to get paid from my enemy to destroy Black progress. Well, then that's a person who has to be removed from anything you're doing. And you have to try to have ways to identify that, or you have to have a way of operating where people
let's put it in real terms, bro.
Yes.
Put it in. Sorry to interrupt you, but I want you to put it in real terms. So leaders can come in different forms for us as Black people, right? Not everyone's pro-Black.
Yeah.
Yeah. So leaders could come in so many different forms. You've got someone like Dr. Umar, who's a self-confessed Prince of Pan-Africanism, right? And you've got someone like a Langley, who's in a high position, and he's fighting on behalf of the American people, which quote unquote includes Black people, right? And then you might have an MP or like, you've got people in positions of leadership and powers, right? And I think the brother said something very important there when he said intentionally, right? Because you said who are in error, and like what I said before, I'm mindful that even people with the best intentions can mess up sometimes.
Yes.
Right. So I do think like intentionally is a key thing. So it's either intentionally, like, or who are in error, who happens to just be in error. I do believe that they still should be called out, but I do believe that you're saying that the ones who are intentionally selling out, there's a different kind of energy that you're saying that we should have to those who might not be intentionally doing it, which I think is a bit obvious. But then you'll have someone like an Umar at this point where people are like, okay, what's really going on? And Umar is like a good one probably to discuss, actually, because Umar's he presents as the Prince of Pan-Africanism, right? His actions there's been many actions recently, my brother.
Yes.
So what do you think, as a community, how people should treat a person who's doing what Umar's doing right now?
I think they're behaving that way now, in the sense of the complete what Robert Umar has fallen from is there's no proof in anything the brother is claiming. So before he could have as long as he wanted, because it's just how long does it take to build a school? Who knows, right? Maybe a year, maybe 10 years, I don't know. But right now there's a lot of things coming together at one time. There's a scenario with his daughter, there's a scenario with the women, and there's a scenario with the banks and the money and the spending and stuff, right? And then there's the behavioral pattern around it, how he approaches it as he communicates with people, right? So so it is not coming across
that's so true, because as a leader you're accountable to your flock.
Exactly.
But he's not doing no accountability. It's more defensive, isn't it?
Yeah. So and here's what it is, right? I know this firsthand, where you're working with untrained brothers and sisters. So Brother Umar is probably really well trained in communicating an idea about pro-Blackness, right? Like the way he speaks. But through seeing how the brother has argued with other content creators in the past, you realize that this is no different from, people who haven't.
Speaker's Corner.
Say again, brother?
Speaker's Corner.
Yeah, I was going to say Speaker's Corner. It literally Speaker's Corner. It's literally that, and it's like name calling, and the thing is, I think now when we see this, rather than us, because obviously when you put so much stock in certain people and you're disappointed, you can really didn't go full tilt at them. However, now we have to be more concerned. There was a video I didn't download, but it was really good. There was a gentleman saying something about, has anyone checked on the brother's health? Has anyone checked on the brother's mindset? Because at a certain point, this behavior pattern isn't not in the area of what you would expect from a person who's, I suspect, going to be the principal of a school and is handling allegedly millions of pounds, right? And also now you can go to the part two. Where is the people who is hiring to be teachers and PE or a cook or whatever it might be, just so there's like a committee you can go to find out more. Because right now, if one person has all the information, then if that one person seems to do whatever they're doing, you won't be able to actually find the what is necessarily needed, right? But my area of interest is how do we as a community, especially those who are funding, treat like, and right now what's happening, everyone's, not everyone, but many people are going on the clowning thing and the jokes and the memes. But I think it needs to be more of a question of accountability now, isn't it?
Can I respond?
It's quite difficult for us as a people as well, right? Because they say that obviously if we go for the notion that we're all subjected to this programming, right?
Yes.
So we're all kind of flawed, right, in this. Anyways, we're all always constantly having to reprogram ourselves until things start getting a bit more easier. You just naturally start waking up thinking a certain way and things like that, right? But it's a process, right? And we're not all of us are not all the way there yet, or ever probably, right? So then that then tells you that if you have an individual, they are going to be flawed. Like, not all of our, like, Malcolm X didn't have a pretty past. And I could imagine if he was like around these times, the internet and media would slew him for his history. Do you know what I mean? If you really think about it, if you think of his past. And look how great he became with nurturing and the right mindset, right? And so it's difficult because it's like when the beginning of the Sahel, and I know a lot of people with warranted reasons were saying, well, I'm not sure about his Traore's past and things like that. And just because most of the people that I've grown to love, a lot of them have checkered pasts. So I don't tend to want to use that as a default. But in my real life, I do. And I feel like sometimes it makes sense to do that. More times it does in your real life to do that, right? And I feel like we're going to have the people who have a checkered past and do end up like Umar. Like, I get about the mental health and things like that, but that could have just always been Umar. He was just better at hiding it before, and it's all collapsed. Because these women are not just from recent. These are women that are talking about the history of this. This is going back years back. Some of these women that are coming out, it's like a line of them now coming out. We're talking about baby mothers as well. So you're doing this, and these kids are grown women. So obviously this is a trait. Do you see it? But at the same time, even though with that trait, he was still if he had done the school now, do you see what I mean? If the school actually happened and bar that, and we didn't know about that. So I do feel like it's so tricky when we put everything in a man or a woman, like just people. That's why we've been saying that you can't just fall in love and have everything hoped in a man. Number one, if he is a good one, they'll get rid of him quick. Or number two, we'll get disappointed. But that doesn't to say that we don't have to have people at the helm of things. And I think what needs to happen is probably, even though I personally, Umar, I just don't like to see it. It's like the Diddy thing. It has to happen. It's wrong. But how I am, I don't like to see black people in this lie. I don't like how the braiding, I don't like how it makes all of us look now. I don't like how, the main thing I really don't like about it is that it's always the emphasis on the people that believe, like, oh, if you're stupid to have believed in this, and it's like when we do that rhetoric, we make it harder for the next person to cut who is genuine to do something and get support. because it's like we all automatically make people feel a way for even having hope. I'm not saying stop your life, you know, and just start giving this man all your cash, but I'm just saying just give the brother a blight, the next one a blight, the next one that's coming up. You know, you might have your reservations, but we keep that in our head. We don't vocalize that out. You know, we give them a chance. We watch how it goes. You know what I mean? So that's why that's the part of it I don't like. But I do think that it's a necessary evil, because I think the next people who are coming up need to understand that you're saying that you're working on behalf of a community. You better do right, because you are disposable, because it's not about the man, it's about the ideology.
Yeah.
Dr. Uma is not adding up to the ideology that he's spewing. Therefore, that's why he's getting a public lynching. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how it has to happen. It has to be that raw, unfortunately.
Go ahead, brother.
Can I add to what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
What it is that every group of people on this planet have got a history. It's just our history has been more bloody, has been more violent. But in saying that, no group of people, no person, no individual is perfect. It's just that when you've got this type of this person has to be on a pedestal because of X, Y, and Z, you're already setting yourself up for something that it's going to disappoint you. No one is perfect, but it's just responsibility, and some responsibility becomes overwhelming, or some people don't admit that they can't manage the responsibility. Facts. And they don't know how to delegate. And that goes into it shouldn't. And that's why some people need to
we just one individual, you know. Imagine just someone coming up to you and be like, you're the one. You won. Musa needs to do everything.
And that's flawed.
Like, it's
flawed. It's flawed. It's flawed thinking. It's flawed thinking from the premises. Before the one even makes those potential errors or mistakes, it's flawed thinking from the jump. Because nobody is perfect. You see what I'm trying to? That's where role and responsibility comes into play. That's where ideology and systems and the strength of that system comes into play. Well, there has to be a way of managing people. Yeah, there has to be a way of managing people. Their checks and their balances.
Yeah. And
to add to no person can't lead like a something, you know, or create something, but one individual, like no team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's people who have set it up, institutions and things like that. They've had a team around them. It's been documented now that Uma literally is trying to do everything solo dolo.
And that's why it's not gonna come to fruition. Those people either take up Messiah complex or fall into Messiah complex mentality. Absolutely. Are destined to hurt themselves, and they're destined to fail, because nobody is perfect.
Exactly.
We don't. You can't expect Chinese people can't expect perfection from Chairman Mao. Greeks, Macedonians can't expect perfection from Alexander the Great. Mongolians can't expect. It goes on the list. Germans can't expect perfection from Adolf Hitler. You cannot force or fall into Messiah complex type savior syndrome. I am the one.
Let me say, jump in. This is what connects to the last thing we were saying about the importance of actually meetings, right? I think this is where the brothers fall short. He's been in one or two public meetings on the internet, whether it might be, or a show, where people have offered to help, and he is not accepted or even trying to work with. And I think accountability means is important. It's like, okay, how long will it take? What's the roadmap? How can we help? How can we dedicate free help? The more you keep people out, the more people are not going to trust. And I think that should be a standard as a community. That
Raven,
always... Go ahead.
Raven, to add to what you're saying, this is the symptoms of a people with a troubled past. Do you think Umar Johnson, if we're using him as an example, Do you think he has trust issues?
Yeah, of course. He's demonstrated.
Absolutely.
Mm.
But
Do you see
remember,
what I'm trying to say to you when I say?
So for me, I say this, right, and this is what I'm trying to do with the whole civil war concepts here, where you have a conversation open, and you actually you make it very plain. It's like, what do you need help with? It's been 14 years. We've all given this amount of money, right? What can you tell us, and what can we do to guarantee or to speed up this process or to help with this process? And let's have a back and forth where it's like we're actually building rather than, oh, where's the school? Well, you've got funny
Good
nose.
question.
You're not a supporter. Oh, if you're not going to, this kind of back and forth. This for me, once again, this is my deep training in Speaker's Corner talk, right? Where there should be a very simple thing that ends up, but you've got a big nose. Oh, but your feet's very big. I'm like, hold on. We're all working together and we're paying to get something done. Why can't we have an ABC conversation? Like, what do you need? I am your servant. Direct me. What can I bring towards you? What books can we see?
Yes.
Do you have management? Just so you know, I've done 100 projects, and there isn't one of them that we don't have management or managers. Would you like any? Would you like us to actually, submit people who have a history in managing projects, right? So, do you have history in managing projects? No. Okay, so this is quite useful then, right? So all these things can be beneficial, but it has to be a simple back and forth conversation, just like the boycotting conversation. Like, what is wrong? How could it be amended? When did this start? How could we help you? What rules should we follow? Just very simple stuff, rather than I'm offended. The fact that this conversation, I get angry. What about the history? It's like, no. Let's go from A, B, C, and C. The simple ways. How can we make this happen? And that's the way where we can actually show love to the brother. But if he doesn't deliver, then you can say, well, something might be up, and this is where we have to step back and go, something isn't working there, because we want to be your humble servants, and we cannot. So how's that?
Raven, not only that, yeah. Sorry to cut you, sis. Not only that, yeah. The people have to be willing to be transparent to an extent that one can even try and help or come into adding value to what it is that you're trying to do. If there's a lot of smoke and mirrors and there's a lot of defense and you can't answer certain questions, what else? Are you going to frustrate people or make them not want to trust you or make them think negative about you, or they're just going to go the other way? It's going to be like, I'm done with this person. There has to be transparent. Why? Where is the transparency? Why one is not trustworthy enough or comfortable enough to open the books to let people know what you're doing for what you're not doing? How do I know that you're not being corrupt? If I'm giving you money, how do I know you're not just taking it and putting it into your pocket? Where's the accountancy? Where's the accountancy and financial files? Where's the transparency? Where's the charts to see the trajectory of the project? Where was the time? Why is it not timed? So we can see, like, from 2001 to 2003, we wanted to get this project done, and we've achieved it, or we was delayed by 6 months because of X, Y, and Z, environmental issues, permit issues, dish issues. He doesn't talk. If you don't talk straight and you start talking in zigzags, it starts to reveal things like, nah, this person can't be trusted, or this person is not honest enough, or he's not transparent enough to let you even give you a window into what he's doing. Sorry.
I say this, yeah. So I don't know a person, what they're doing behind the scenes and what their intent might be, right? But if someone is scamming, as in that's the actual intent, right? Because there's been many people who've come into like the conscious community or the pro-black community or the Pan-African community where they spoke loud, but their intentions after a time went back was to scam. Like, oh, this actually is a Ponzi scheme or a scam or whatever. If a person, that's their thing, then like we said before, they become like the Langley, as in like, okay, even though they profess to have this unifying ideology, that's just a part of their deception. And then you will treat them as an outsider in that sense, and whatever happens in that kind of way, right? But then that's why you can have a constructive conversation. Because once again, if someone is just and I'm not saying this is Brother Uma or whatever, incompetent or inexperienced, completely governed by pride, like in every single asset, a lack of trust, then we need to say that we're at the point now where if you read the comments around literally everywhere, everyone has lost faith in what you, and these are all contributors, right? So we want to have a constructive conversation to see where you're at and how we can help you, and it's transparency.
My bro, I just wanted to say on what you were saying before with in the community coming to him and asking him those questions, right?
Yes.
And at first I was like, oh, but I thought, nah, you know what I mean? When you, like you said, I want to come in with the wisdom here, right? But you know, this is the part where I let you lead. And I have to say, I didn't think of it like that, right? So there's two ways I was thinking of this when I was listening to it. So I was thinking, you really think that he's gonna, because this right here is adjacent to what we're saying about what it takes to be a leader, right? And it is a difficult role, especially of Pan-Africanism or Black First, because you have to demonstrate the qualities of a leader, and you have to demonstrate the principles of the Pan-African or the pro-Black that you're saying that you're being. You have to do that consistently, both, all the time, right? So it is a hard job, right? So when you were saying all of that, I was thinking he's never going to do that now. But then as I was listening to you, I was thinking, has anyone did that? So there's two things on what you were saying, right? When you were saying all of that, I think that would have been great, right? If there was some form of an interview or a sit down with him, like for you, yeah? If you were to sit down with him, the brothers and sisters are saying this is 14 years ago, right? That they it's been 14 years. So in year 4, I think that would have been a good thing to have done. Do you understand everything that you listed out there? Because I genuinely have not seen one discussion with Umar where they've gone that deep, delve in that deep in regard to his schools. I have seen interviews with Umar because I followed Umar, you know. I've seen interviews where they've asked him, "Oh, how's the school going?" And he'll be like, "Oh yeah, the school's going good." And then, like what family have said, members have said in there, he might make some mention that he needs this or he needs that, donations, and then it's a next topic, right? But not in depth of the questions that you asked. And it'd be interested, and this is what I'm saying about someone's history. Had he have done that before, I'd be like, okay, he has the ability to understand that he is accountable to these people that he's taken the money to.
Yeah.
Like 4 years on, people do have a reason to ask you, where is, like what one of the brothers has said on here, where's the treasury? Like the comments alone, all you'd have to do is just take a snapshot of these comments and just ask those questions. These basic questions I don't think have consistently been asked in an interview.
No.
Right? And had he have had that earlier on, we would have seen some sort of trait where he understands he's accountable to us. 14 years on, I don't think now he's even willing to sit down with someone and have that real conversation. All right, Umar, it's 14 years. Real talk. What's happened? Where is the money? How much have you had? Where's the books? Don't show it here, you know. Have someone that we can all trust. Make sure that they've said, okay, I've seen the books, people. He's shown it to me. We've seen that it equates that he's had this much from the community. Let us know how much it is from the community. Have those kind of conversations. I don't think, as people said, I don't think that he will actually have that kind of conversation right now.
Well,
why do you think? Why do you think he wouldn't?
Because of his ego and his arrogance.
That sister, the sister could be 1000% right, but because of the collection of these unfortunate events, we can have a way of operating that it really is with love. That is the final straw, as in like the final straw is we can see there's clearly some challenges that's going on, and it has to come down to a mismanagement because the IRS are investigating, they're freezing your accounts, we're coming forward, your daughter's doing this and the further saying that. So we want to help you because we believe in the school, and right now, if you're the sole person who has access to the money and is in charge of the school, and we believe in the school, We want to help you do that. So what could we do to help you? But we also need these things to just to make sure that what we're doing isn't in vain. Yeah. Now, how he responds to that conversation then can determine whether someone becomes a
Absolutely.
pariah. Because
Yeah,
what I'm
I'd
saying,
like to think he would do that, but it's like actually that's when you was talking, I was like, raw. No one's actually came to this man, and that's not to say that people have probably not
Well,
asked. Now,
very well
that's not
said.
to say that
But you
people
see,
behind
to
the scene
get to
have
that
not
point, yeah,
contacted him and said,
it's
"I want to have direct questions with you," and he's purposely said, "No, these people are going to be too hard hitting. I'm dodging them. Let me go to the man who wants to hear about me saying no snow bunnies."
no, what you're saying is what you're so he's
mention,
going
and then
he,
realize that
yeah.
the responsibility that was taken on was too much for them, or they could
Well,
have just got burnt out.
well, let me say this. So the brother goes on to certain podcasts to get publicity, and he ends up talking about relationships and intimacy and don't be with Europeans and jokes and this kind of stuff, right?
And I'm a
But
sister that appreciates a black man saying that, by the way. I just want to put that out there. Like, you know,
what's that, sister?
I'm saying I'm a
She
sister that
appreciates.
appreciates him doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I just want to put that out there.
Of course, and this is you're always going to give props for where props is due. But what we're saying is, you know, if the issue is everyone is many people, sorry, are in the clowning zone. Let's clown the person. But I'm saying like, let's try to be solution based, and it isn't that I trust someone that is going or not going to do something. Is we set up a situation where if a person doesn't, that then allows us to
Absolutely.
move away because it's
Absolutely.
like
You've got to give him the opportunity.
yeah. If I go to someone and say, what's going on? What and I start hostile, he can say any person can say anything back in a hostile way. And now it's no longer about helping the school, it's about my ego versus your ego. Unfortunately, we've seen the brother get an argument with Sarah Say, we've seen him get in an argument with Tariq Rashid, we've seen him get an argument with a few of some of the ladies, I've got the names, and also now with his ex-girlfriends and this kind of stuff, or alleged ex-girlfriends or whatever, right? And so we understand that
His own daughters.
I don't think yeah, and that's another thing, right? And this is just I don't like talking on people's personal businesses, but what I would say is, as someone who deals with children with psychological challenges, I would like him to prioritize a way to sort out whatever it is that isn't going on with his daughter.
It's what I'm saying. You've got to demonstrate in what
Yeah.
you talk.
Exactly right, but what I'm saying, but on the other hand, I understand how it is to be a public figure, where everyone you interact with, everyone who knows you, everything that it's not like what the greatest thing that I've ever been in my life is unsuccessful. It was amazing because when I was unsuccessful, all my errors happened in being unsuccessful. When it comes to learning, being able to build things, being able to demonstrate things, I failed in a room on my own, and no one could make a whole essay about it. And because I failed so many times, I could be an expert because I've learned from failure. But unfortunately, some people, because they're in the limelight, their failures can come up at any minute, and then it becomes a social topic for 10 years or 10 months. And that's the harshness of being
That's
a public
part of the
figure.
title, though, bro.
It
That's
is.
that's
It
kind
is.
of the bearing of the crown.
It really is. But what I'm saying is, we can have an understanding to give a certain amount of
Absolutely.
right. But when it becomes compounded, where it's like, now this is like 7 things at one time. So that means you haven't delivered one thing, but 7 error-prone things are coming at one time. We now need to really collaborate and get all these things together to see like what is going on, because there is no wiggle room now. If there is no kind of successful delivery of any kind, you are now joining the ranks of someone who's actually causing an issue in the community, right?
It's like
Well said. Well said.
I said in their 14 years, it's been a long time. But I think what you're saying is absolutely it's true, and I think that these are I love these kind of conversations because it is so multi-layered, you know.
I'm not saying that someone is or isn't scamming. Well, I'm saying that without proper management, you know, and a roadmap, something you think might take 4 years could take 10 years or 20. Yeah.
Well said.
And what I'm saying, that's why it's like the brother, he might be extremely trained when it comes to speaking on stage and motivating, but not when it comes to handling finance, when it comes to managing like project. I've seen the wages of project managers. They're the highest paid usually in a project. Usually, it's definitely them, right? And that's for a reason, isn't it? Because you're paying them a certain amount every day to guarantee that this project finishes in 2 years. Do you know why? Because we've only got 2 years worth of budget. So you're getting paid, and if you don't, then this is a problem. So a project manager is very important. There's these there's systems, Agile and Scrum. These are systems that they learn years so they can deliver a project, and that's what they do. They deliver projects. I don't know if the brothers are right or anyone like that, but what we're saying is when we
did not.
No, but when we have these conversations, we can say, is there any kind of people, because he's asking for people who might do plumbing and might do whatever, right? But there's also, because you haven't delivered in 14 years, we can recommend that these things are how you get projects done. Is there a reason why you wouldn't want them, especially if they are pro bono or they're only going to take 50% off, or we're doing our own private funding to make sure you get this? And how the brother responds will tell you where his mind's at. I won't mention names, but there's people who've gone to jail for certain behaviors who allegedly were in the community, the content community. And when people spoke to them about certain things, straight away, you could tell that these guys are not actually cohesive. And usually in that kind of time, they will start talking about spiritual things, and supernatural things that you can't quantify. Yeah. And then they become chosen by an entity or an ancestor.
But I hear you, bro. But I feel as well we can't negate the fact that there have been other black people who have thought the same and thought to ask the brother one away. There hasn't been other radio stations, local stations, organizations, places that he visits that have not wanted to pry a bit more into what is going on and the fundamentals of that. We can't just negate that that's never happened in 14 years. I doubt it. I don't think we're the first ones to think to have done that.
So what we could do then,
I think
go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying that, I think the consensus of the family is that he's a scammer, right? And it's like, with things like this, I think we do have to be like, if it sounds like a duck, quacks like a duck, moves like a duck, especially if the duck don't want to show us that it's not a duck. All you have to do really is to be forthright with the Dr. Umar is not stupid in regards to understanding the community. That's one thing I think he's very elite with. Dr. Umar would know that if I just told them some truths right now, it would alleviate a lot of anxiety or doubt coming my way. It's the way that he's 10 toes down, apparently still asking for donations, bro, and not acknowledging it.
Well, very well said.
In life, if you felt like someone was doing you dirty in life, in real life, and they're not coming towards you with the elephant in the room, but coming with you every which way but loose, bro. Like, it's like, you see it? I'm saying this with a heavy heart. Like, I'm saying this with a heavy heart. But if we say if we're saying that I have to take, like, word, sound, and power, right? If I'm saying that we have to move in this way, even when I don't like it, even if I prefer it not to be, even if I wished it weren't the one brother that has the chest to say, stay with your own women. Oh, do you know what I mean? I want it to be him. But at this point, if we take the feelings out of it, take the man out of it, and move with the ideology, it's not looking too good.
I think you're being a bit lenient when you say it's not looking too good. I know you want to say something, Raven, but I'm saying we also when we're not true to ourselves, then we also buy into or further the illusion. Let me ask everybody here, innit? Does it take 14 years to build a school?
Hold on, brother.
That's not a fair way of doing it because there's nuances.
Hold on, brother.
We're being difficult. We're being difficult to ourselves now.
Let me say this. Then you can say that, right? whenever there's a person who was once or did or has done black conscious work, right, and then we call them a name like they're a scammer, they're this or this, right? What I would say is let us get a collection of questions to ask that can confirm whether they are or not. So rather than call them something, go as a community. We have these questions, right? And your answers will determine what you are, right? And I think that if we can get those questions like they're circulating, like if a person cannot after these incidents, if they cannot answer this question, then they don't give any evidence about this kind of stuff, then we can officially say here's the documentation, here's what we asked, and because we can't, we can. A lot of what we're doing now is filling the gaps, right? Filling the gaps, and don't get me wrong, like, for me, like let me say that. I was going to say this is how I operate, because if I didn't operate this way, everyone's a scammer. Literally everyone, because in my head, there's a certain way that people should behave when the camera's on, and I don't think anyone does. So I just think that let us be merciful to people's imperfections, and even if they are in error, meaning they think they're the best, but on paper they're the worst, let's offer them assistance to do the best. And if they fail at these tasks, then they have to find what they are, because we haven't approached them with malice or any pain or anything. We've approached them with constructive help we want to do, and they have declined it. Meanwhile, they're still asking for money or whatever it might be. Like, this is now, you are officially now a Ponzi schemer, right? Because it's just take, and there is no. I mean, maybe he might say, well, there's a school. There it is. There it is. And that's the thing. Right?
I think there's a point of way as how we should move as a community going forward. That should be a point of way of doing that. Like, we should be able to do that. But again, the community can only do as much as he will. He's clearly ignoring all these questions. I'm sure are up and down on these comments. Every single post at this point, I'm sure that there's someone spamming them every time he's going live, and if he is still asking for donations, I bet that one of their responses is something like that.
So let me ask you this, right? If someone is scamming the community, right, and we have to let us know. Maybe this is an exercise for next week, right? What type of scamming is he doing? So, for example, if he's doing a scamming where you give me money, I live a good life. I say I'm going to deliver something, I don't. Well, there actually comes a point where that can be like quantified. Like, hold on, we've given you 14 years this amount of money. What's happening, right? Like at the end, is
that classified as a scam tier?
Well, yeah. If there is nothing delivered and no guideline and no roadmap and no explanation, and you keep on asking, then it's like, well, 14 years can become 20s. Now,
okay, so to be fair, I think there was an actual building purchased. It's not like there wasn't a premises. I think there was a building.
So he has. There is. So what I'm saying to the community now is he's got the building. What else is needed in that building? Because he's already bought the building, right? He's already bought it. So isn't it just now you have to fill it with curriculums or fix the wiring or fix the dampness, whatever it might be, right? So
yeah. But see if a person many times has been asked within that 14 years about how's the school doing, what help does he need, etc., etc. I think, like, if you're always doing some type of circular reasoning and you're never straightforward, and we're not seeing the signs of a person who, he said it out of his own words, and if I never complete the school, then I've still, I don't know, like I've achieved by being the King Kong of consciousness. There's a Garvey, and he said something that was very concerning. So sensationalism, celebrityism, ego, I don't know, pride is like, it looks like it's more driving him than anything. The results is what is important when you embark upon a project, and a project has to have acronyms like SMART and other acronyms in order for you to measure what you're doing, because you got like you said, Raven, you got a limited budget. But I think a lot of people also reinforce this illusion when they accept that in their reality. You actually take 14 years to build a school. It doesn't take 14 years. I asked the question to this panel. I didn't get a straight answer. It does not take 14 years to build a school.
What I want us to acknowledge, brother, is we're going to be saying the same things for half an hour, and that's going to be. It doesn't take 14 years to build a school, right? But what I'm saying is now we can actually have a strategy of when we call him someone who's completely unsynchronized with whatever we're doing. Yeah, it's like, what do we need to be best pleased that our money has gone in the right way, right? And the strategy I push forward is you start with the offering. Like, we're offering this, but we need to see that, because who's going to dedicate time for something that might not actually happen, right? And then after that, for example, I'm not trying to defend the brother, but let's say he's completely incompetent in management, right? That will be very evident once you start helping him. Oh, you understand, right? Right now, I don't know. I think that the sister, and obviously you take pinch of salt, the sister he was romancing, she was obviously complaining about his his management skills in their life or their house or whatever it might be, right? Yeah, that's his private life, but that's what they're bringing forward, that he's got issues in his own life, and that and that might contribute to whatever, I don't know, right? So I'm saying that there might be a sign that this, even though he means well, he's not skilled enough to do it. Like, if he isn't speaking, then you can. But what I'm saying is, I strongly recommend we don't keep asking the same questions, as in, why haven't you? It's like, okay, how can we? So remember, why, how? Like, how can the school be done in the way you want? Now, before we go, because we are getting to the time, he has identified that I think it's the IRS has frozen his bank account, right?
Yeah.
Now we need to get a money expert in there to describe what that looks like. Like, does that mean that he has to pay extra tax, or does that mean the money's gone, or does it mean it's some kind of fraud they're going for? But
it means he can't get access to any of the funds currently, and
right.
they're investigating
fraudulent
activities. He claims it's not his fraudulent activities. The last time that I heard, he said that there has been fraudulent activities on the account which they don't believe is him, but there is fraudulent activities. Therefore, they're freezing the account.
So let me say this, yeah?
My thing is, though, if you have fraudulent account and the bank doesn't assume that it's you, why not give you access to the account?
Well, before you even get there, that's a very intelligent thing to say. I would say this, yeah? If I go by what he has reported, what brother's reported, right? He is saying that I am the most successful person in this field, and my bank account has been frozen, whatever it is, and I have no way of operating, and I need the community to give me money to look after myself and my mother. All right, that already shows you that his management of money in that scenario is problematic, because he's now in a position that he's doing, not doing, has put him in a position where he can't feed himself and his mother. Right.
So that leaves it open to assume that you're using donations to finance your lifestyle and your mum.
I don't even have to go there. I don't even have to go there. I can just say that usually people, if you've got some people that have a separate account for the donations, they have a separate account for their life, they have a separate account for whatever. That's how you manage the money, right? He has no access to any money, so he needs you to give him money via a digital app, right? So that means he hasn't arranged his money scenario in a way that if something goes wrong, or he's intertwined certain things, or the complete management is just off where he cannot eat, right? So I read that shows you that his management is in an error situation, that he and his mother cannot eat because of whatever incident has or hasn't happened. And now his response to that isn't, well, I've got all these people I've worked with, let me contact them to help me. It's, I'm going to go to the community and go, can you give me some money, please? Now, I that already shows you about someone who's more comfortable to work with the public rather than people he's privately met in his real life. Like, how much money, how many people do you know at that level where you can let them know, look, something's happened, can you loan me whatever, rather than going public by saying, I can't, like, the going public wasn't
Yeah, but
about.
bro, I think that shows that he doesn't have anyone to go to. All of these relationships or so-called relationships are just for social media.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think he has anyone to go to.
As I'm saying, it's complete isolation, right?
Yeah.
But one thing is, and this taps into what the brother was saying, where, and I don't want to go down this road, but he was saying something like his daughter unfortunately pretended to kill herself, to unalive herself or whatever it was, right? I don't know if it was a joke or whatever it was, but he was talking, saying, "Oh, I heard this. I hope it's not true." Then he continued to, do the stream about whatever it was, right? Just like he's reported that the bank's been frozen, and then it's like, "Oh, I need money." So the primary of the conversation wasn't that the bank's been frozen. The primary of the conversation is I need money. But the bank being frozen is a huge thing. That's a huge thing, right?
Exactly, and he's downplayed the whole thing because he was just like, it's just flippant that, oh well, it's frozen. Let's get back to how we're gonna get money into my account. How am I gonna get access to some extra funds?
Yeah, and that's
very
why.
telling.
But here's what it is, and that sounds fun. And I'm not trying to defend or not defend them, right? But without PR training the team, your erratic behaviors, who with instant access to a phone, can really paint a picture that might not necessarily be true, right? Now, if you had a team with you, said, "Brother, I will do that. Anything you do has to run through me, like because I'm responsible for your PR, the world." That would have been like, that's not a good look to go live to ask for money for you and your mom. It's not a good look. Yeah. And they're going to be concerned more about the millions of pounds that might be frozen rather than you can't feed yourself. Do you understand? Right? So they might even connect it that it's something you're doing. So why are they going to give you any more money? Right? So
But
this
it's
is
like
why you
what the
need a
bro
team.
said, that was it Messiah complex, bro.
Well,
And
this is the
what I'm saying.
conversation
I think
that I
that should be
recommend.
another a key factor to look out for. Anybody that's saying that they're doing something but believe that they're the only one that can do it, it's only them. It's just like, I just call it the Elon effect. Like, I don't think that anybody is immune to, if you're showered with, "You're so great, Umar, thank you, Umar, finally a brother doing this," blah, blah, blah. You have no one to put your feet down to the ground to hold you accountable. Everyone's susceptible for getting big-headed. We've seen it throughout the ages. This is nothing new. That's why anything that's of any of importance, or of anything that's ever been good of any importance, it's always been a set team around them. And mainly when it's been good is when each person on that team represents a different side or ethnic group or aspect to the whole of the thing, of the organization or the people that you're going to represent. That's the only time that it's going to be good. When you have somebody at the table that represents every single sector of the Black community, that can all sit and all have the mentality that we don't all have to agree on everything, we just got to agree on this, the main aspects, can sit at a table and say, okay, when it comes to plan A, this fits for me, I represent side B, this fits for side C, this fits for side D. That means that whatever we've agreed here, we've managed to, everybody, all these different fractions of us, all can live with that. That's a good thing. Therefore, when we bring it out to the masses, where we are all representing all these different fractions, this one thing should be able to represent all of us good. When you have one man making a decision, a man as well, and you're just getting flooded with Umar. Yeah, he's got godly complex for real. And that's why I'm saying that's why I say ego and arrogance, to expect someone with that kind of thing to be sitting down now and be like, you know what, I did with all of your money. I have to be humble as well, because the community will want to see regret. Like, I don't know if it's going to happen.
And he has to be willing to accept the help. If he wants, he's got to recognize that he needs the help. He's got to be willing to accept the help. Yeah, and that's where he's got to be willing to work with other people. He needs an expert in administration. He needs an expert in finance. He needs an expert in project management. He needs an expert in handling, because he might be qualified in child psychology, but he might not be good at business. He might not be good at many other things. You see what I'm trying to say to you? He has to be able to recognize and realize what his strengths and weaknesses are, and where his limitations are. But if a person just thinks that he's the Messiah sent and he's the only one that can do the job, he's not going to accept any type of criticism. He's not going to accept any type of help. You see where I'm going with this?
Well, I would say this before we go, and that is, whenever a person gets to a kind of place in a position, we can say, look, certain things are happening, right? And we don't want to paint a picture that you are a scammer or you are, in error in this kind of way, right? So here's what we would do to not do that. Here's how we can help, and here's how you can help. And then you have your list of things, all right? If the person escapes this or negates on this, then this is now confirmation that they are what some people might be alleging. All right. So we put their definition in their arms, or in their hands after that official conversation. Here's what the community officially needs, for us to continue to support if ever. So when you're in the comments and you say things like he's a scammer, he's a scammer, he's a scammer, the way I would say is think of how can you word things to someone to let them know they are what you say they are. That's what it is, right? And how it comes by not accusing them of doing stuff, but offering to help them to do what they're allegedly trying to do, but saying you need these things for these reasons, and then how they respond will then paint the picture of what they actually are. And history will say, well, hold on a minute, didn't Operation Joe or Industry Jim or Janet and Joel come to you and say, we want to do this, and you did that, but meanwhile you're asking for money, but they're saying they're going to give you more than money. They're going to give you their free time and management skills to get this thing done, and you decline them for what reason? You see, and that way you let them paint a picture of whatever they are allegedly or not allegedly doing. Now, family,
though, bro, that, for me, I'm cautious. I'm just side-eyeing him right now, but that's not to say that if he ever decides to come open up the books, spread up the books, have an interview and lay it all out, which it might come to that, but at a more desperate situation, I'll be definitely paying attention and be listening closely. But I will say that I think another lesson from this as well for our community should be that you should probably answer when your community is calling, like they are clearly now, and address them with respect now at this point where they're demanding it, than wait and keep fobbing them off and disrespecting them until the white man comes now, freezes your accounts, publicly starts taking you to court. Now everything's aired out. Every inch is all laid out because someone like you, they will love to publicly undress that man. Yeah, we see how they do Diddy, right? So this again is another thing about this ego thing is immense with a lot of our men in our community. And so if he was smart, and if there is a freeze on his account, for real, if there is that would lead to probably lead someone to think that there's some sort of investigations happening. So I don't know, to me, I wouldn't be dismissing, disrespecting or gaslighting your main core right now, because if you ain't going to talk to us, them people there will make you talk to them publicly. So I feel like, like people in positions need to get used to answering to their people then, because it always stems that they have to do it later down the road, and it gets very ugly when they have to do it that way.
Thank you, sis. Who's Kemi? Is that the MP lady? I don't think we've spoken about that. Well, family, we're going to go. Anything, let us know in the comments. We can bring up the topic next week. We might continue what we're going to do, or maybe further take down this road. Depends on what happens in the week. I might be on a show, so maybe we might cover that. I don't know if it's going to happen. But outside of that, but any last messages from Brother Musa or Sister Kush at all?
No, just Black Batman. And good topic, actually. It was a really good topic. And bless up to all the family in the chat as well. I was having giggles and just reading the chats as we were going along. Bless up to Brother Musa. And really good topic. Really good layers and questioning from you and Brother Musa at the beginning and stuff. So, yeah, keep up the good work, bro.
There you go. Brother Musa?
A very good subject matter that's gonna involve whatever you do, you want to do it to the best of your ability, but at the same time, you got to what do they say? Put your best foot forward, and you have to up your game. You got to be willing to, push yourself or rise to the challenge, or admit when the challenge is too much for you, and you need to bring in other experts, other talents to assist you in achieving your objectives and aims to get the desired result that you want. You understand what I'm saying to you? So I'm trying to put something together, but you got a key component missing, or you're building a house, but you got the plumber missing, or you're building a house, you got the electrician missing. You know what I'm trying to say to you? Look, these key things that you got missing in your arsenal that would either delay you, hinder you, obstruct you from achieving your goals. You know what I'm trying to say to you? And then be willing to be humble enough or open enough to accept the help. That's what I would say.
Thank you, brother. So for everyone, don't forget to check out Your Liberty. There's the links there, and Match Fit. They were guests, and they've got their businesses that they're running for Black families and Black health. But until next week, Black Burman to all, and to all Black Burman. See you then. Thank you very much.
Black Burman.